Welcome back, everyone, to another session within Crituitous RP. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today is a special day as we are starting a brand new campaign. Our previous adventure, which I would recommend you go check out our backlog to go and watch, took a group of adventurers through the majority of the north, through the Sword Coast, as they explored a version of Storm King's Thunder mixed in with a bit of Tyranny of Dragons and ending with some homebrew. This time we start in the heart of Baldur's Gate. So let's go around the table real quick and just give a brief introduction, simple introduction, no lengthy backstories or anything like that, about all of our characters individually. So first off, let's go with Blue. So, Ty, tell us a little bit about Blue.
Blue is a Furbolg barbarian druid. He's about 7 foot tall, lean muscle, weighing about 300 pounds. He's got dark brown mohawk, dreadlocked ponytail. His eyes are green, and his skin is milky blue. That's where he gets his name from, because Furbolgs don't actually use names, and he is currently using a name given to him by some traveling band that he traveled into Baldur's Gate with. He has tribal tattoos on his wrists, his neck, and his hands are also entirely tattooed red.
So, blue body, red hands.
Yep.
Okay.
He's currently wearing some leathers and got a cotton top and a leather galette with furring sides. But he's currently living on the streets of Baldur's Gate.
Okay. Moving along, let's learn a little bit about Carmen. Lainey, tell us a little bit about Carmen.
Carmen is a young free spirit. She is probably around about 19. She's actually from a quite wealthy family, but she's going out in the world. She wants to find herself. She is a half-elf with blonde hair. She's tall. She's about 5'9", 5'10". She's a bard, so the way that she travels around is to entertain. So to fund her further travels, she entertains, makes some money, and moves on. She's literally just trying to learn a bit about life, and she is looking for an experience and just taking wherever fun takes her. But she's a bit chaotic, a bit fun, but that's her. That's it.
Okay. Let's move on and discover secrets of Averine. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You got it. Yeah. Averine is a cleric wizard, so specifically a knowledge cleric and divination wizard. She's of the faith of Azuth, which is the patron god of wizards, so that ties those two together there. Her background is as an anthropologist, and she travels back and forth between Baldur's Gate and Chult, because she's fascinated by the cultures of those jungle folk. She tries to speak with a Scottish accent, which I'll dismally destroy and hopefully get better at over time. She wears a chain shirt and a leather apron because ladies' attire just doesn't have the necessary pockets. So she just provides her own pockets, doesn't she? Aye, she does. And that's it.
Okay. All right. Let's discover more about Zola.
Zola is a Yuan-Ti pureblood. She is actually from the island of Chult, where she works with one of the merchant lords and their family as kind of an in-betweener. She's a rogue, so she uses those abilities to do what business needs doing. She's only about 5'5". Her UNT bits are observable in her eyes that are bright red. And she's got these red rust-colored scales that are kind of like a viper's scales, the way they're kind of pointy. And they go from her hands all the way to her elbows.
Okay. And last but not least for today, Stephen, who is usually with us, will be with us and joining the party next week. But today, let's discover a little bit about Gregory.
Gregory is a red-skinned tiefling with slicked back black hair. He has the traditional horns, but they kind of come forward in a more traditional style, not like a ram or those that curve around the side, but more kind of a daredevil type. He's got a fine mustache and goatee that are waxed that you can kind of twiddle in your fingers like you're a stereotypical villain from the 1920s. He is in Baldur's Gate seeking knowledge and learning, specifically about the nature of Asmodeus or Asmodeus. He is one who will always make a deal, and he is one who is really interested in what he can get out of any given situation. He is somewhat physically frail, but has great force of character.
Okay. Matthew, or Gregory, just FYI, as we could hear your GPS giving you directions, I have now decided that any such communication between you and any deity comes through in the form of that voice, okay? From now on. So, we join the party in the city of Baldur's Gate, and let's move us over to a map of Baldur's Gate proper. We start out on a ship. It's a fairly big ship. It's a galley, so nice and large. It regularly makes the trip between Port Nyanzaru in Chult and the city of Baldur's Gate, passing over the shores fairly quickly, making the trip a brisk one, less so a leisure one, but more for business. And sailing aboard that ship is Zola, who is actually part of the crew. Guests upon that ship include Averine. So you two would have had about 12 days of traveling from Port Nyanzaru up towards Baldur's Gate, and the travel would have been at a very fast pace. The ship would have done everything it could to catch every last bit of wind necessary to make it to Baldur's Gate as quickly as possible. The reason why your ship was in haste was a new guest, a patron of the ship. We've lost Matthew, but that's okay. We'll continue on without him. This additional patron, this additional member of the visitor aboard the ship, is a strange man named Sandir. A kind of scrawny individual, about 5'3", fairly short, no muscle to him whatsoever, bald head, not a bit of hair on his body that you can see, not even eyebrows or eyelashes. And he tends to keep himself wrapped up in his sharp red robes. He demanded and hired the ship travel to Baldur's Gate as quickly as possible. And since Zola was part of the crew, that was sent off, Zola and Averine get the opportunity to engage with one another for about 12 days before the rest of the group do. Now, Averine, you were joining the ship. Simply, it just happened to be a case that you wanted a ship that was headed out of Port Nine-Zaro to Baldur's Gate. This happened to be the next ship out. So over the course of 12 days, Zola and Averine, is there anything you would be doing while you're sailing to Baldur's Gate?
Well, I'd be congratulating Zola's decision. You're very smart to hire on a wizard to travel with you. If we run into any pirates, I'll blast them out of the water.
Excellent. That's why we're letting you do this for free.
You don't want to be transporting dangerous fire and whatnot. You just use the magic that I have at my disposal, and I'll take care of them. You worry not.
Speaking of which, what kind of magic can you control? Can you do air? Can you put air in the sails and make us go faster?
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't learned that spell yet.
Oh, that's okay. So you're still learning?
All the time.
How do you do that as a wizard?
You mean learning?
Yeah.
You just seek out the knowledge. It's everywhere around us. Well, not presently here. I mean, in my book, you can see I've recorded what knowledge there is to record, and I learned from my spells in my book. But I go and seek out new knowledge, and I record it in my book, and I bring it back to my mates in Candlekeep, and we make copies for the rest of the world to benefit from our knowledge.
That's very generous. Who are your people?
Oh, I associate with many, but all the folk at Candlekeep are my mates.
Candlekeep. I've maybe heard that before in passing.
Would you like to roll a history check to see if you have? Only that it's a location and nothing about it.
That is a place. It's definitely a place.
It's the most magnificent center of knowledge that has been gathered through the ages, and it is just outside Baldur's Gate.
Do you know how old it is? A place like that, it's probably got to be ancient, right?
It's over 1,000 years, that's for sure.
Wow. Well, did you find anything cool in Cholt?
Oh, absolutely. The peoples are all the peoples and their cultures are a rich tapestry. And,
well, thank you.
Oh, are you a native of Cholt?
I am, and I'm proud to be one.
What? Tell me about your people.
Until recently, they have been a very traditional sort and very spiritual as well. But recently, we've had a lot of foreigners kind of coming and going, and it's become more of a mixing pot of than anything else. It's been about 15 years like that, I want to say. So now it's, you can tell by my accent, it's a bit of a universal accent. That's because the city that I live in has a lot of accents in it.
We do tend to pick up the flavors of the people we're around, don't we?
That we do.
Okay. Now, watching this interchange, watching these two individuals quite intently is this Sandir fellow, this additional wizard. Now, Gregory, Matthew, you were going about your usual business. It was an average day for you. You had a long day, a little bit tired, and you went to sleep. You bedded down as you would normally. Nothing amiss. Except your dreams are plagued with images and visions. And strangely enough, you are currently asleep. All of this is happening in Gregory's dreams, as he is watching everything through the eyes of Sandir. You have no real control over his actions, but you're free to perceive things as you move along, as the story progresses. After the 12 days worth of journey, the ship begins to moor itself closer to Baldur's Gate and starts heading into the main harbor. Sandir is obviously visibly agitated and desperate to move through as quickly as possible and get off the ship very quickly. This is easily visible by Averine and Zola. Would you do anything?
Not in front of him.
Not in front of him. What would you do behind him?
I'm gonna see if I can take Averine aside and ensure that he's not tailing us. And if he's not, then I will ask, hey, do you know anything about that guy? Has he said anything to you?
No, I thought he was one of yours.
No, well, no. I mean, he paid us to ferry him across like you did, so to speak, except with money. But no, his demeanor has been a little bit suspicious, and I've been interested in knowing why.
Well, let's follow him. That's the least I can do for carrying me all this way.
Can we follow people without being noticed?
I guess we'll find out.
If you guys would like to follow him, go ahead and roll a stealth checks. It's not too difficult to follow him, as the city streets of Baldur's Gate are fairly busy, and the city is packed, as it usually is. Okay, so a 15 from Averine and an 18 from Zola. Okay, you two very quietly do slip behind him. You watch as the moment his feet set foot on solid ground, he starts walking away at a very brisk pace. He's very intent and traveling in a very direct motion. Every few minutes he keeps looking back, keeps looking over his shoulder. He doesn't see the two of you, but you can get a sense that he is being followed, or at least he feels like he is being followed by something. He then starts turning through streets, making turns that make absolutely no sense, unless someone was actually just trying to lose someone that was tailing him. I need the two of you to roll some form of skill check and perhaps give me explain which skill you would use in order to keep track of him and follow him through as long as you would follow.
Can I use my history traveling through Baldur's Gate on my way to Candlekeep to try to get a sense of where he might be going to, or what he's trying to avoid by taking these twists and turns?
Okay, so utilizing your knowledge of the city of Baldur's Gate, you're trying to anticipate his actions, maybe slip through some side streets to keep ahead of him whilst still staying hidden. Okay, go ahead and roll a history check. All right, not too bad. Zola, what skills would you employ to track and follow this guy?
I'll go with perception in the cases where he turns again quickly and we have to catch a tail end of him before we lose him.
Okay. 14. All right, so together the two of you start to lose him at certain turns, but then you manage to catch up and follow him. His pace has quickened, and then there's a point where he actually begins to run as fast as he can. Now, at this point, he runs straight towards a local tavern. stood outside this local tavern is Carmen. Now, Carmen, from your point of view, you see this bold, short man with his robes flapping behind him as he's desperately running as quick as possible towards you. And roll me a perception check.
Oh, okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Okay, what's your passive perception, by the way?
1.
11.
11.
Okay. All right. Then you don't see any reason why he would be running as quickly as he is. But you can see that as he's running towards you, he's looking over his shoulders. What are you doing as this individual starts running towards you?
Is he running towards me or running past me?
He's running towards your tavern, which you are stood outside of.
Hello! Welcome for the show tonight. Stop! Come in. Tell me, you look worried. You look like you could do with a drink. So, calm down. Come here. Let me get you a drink. You look like you need one. You right? You right? You okay?
He's desperate. He pushes past you.
Whoa!
I don't have time. I need to get out of here.
All right, okay. Somebody's recovering from an alcoholic problem. Carry on.
Do you have anywhere that you can hide me? I will pay.
You want to hide?
Shh.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. How would you like me to hide you? Like, would you be happy to go in a box? Behind the bar? How much have you got?
He starts tearing through his robes, and he throws 25 gold into your hand. Just hide me away. Roll a persuasion check with advantage, because he is desperate at this point. 26. Okay. Yeah. He pulls out 5 and just throws it at you. Just any sort of cubby hole. I know taverns sometimes have places to hide people. Okay.
Take my hand. Right, I will whisk him into the bar. I know everyone in that bar because I'm there all the time. I look at the bartender and go, do me a favour, I need this guy for later. So can we pop him in the cellar and do a bit of work for you for about half an hour? Is that all right?
Sure. And he
Lovely.
doesn't.
Cheers, love. I'll entertain the crowd later, so we'll call it even.
Okay. Now you're trying to hide him from some unknown person that he is hiding from. So what skills would you be employing to try and hide him?
Persuasion to obviously I've got him down in the cellar, I hope by now. I would then probably make a performance to just try and keep everyone else entertained, get their eyes off of what's going on, so that people are then more interested in the performance rather than actually what's going on behind the bar.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead and roll a performance check. Okay, 15. All right. Now, at this point, Zola and Averine, you saw this guy rush towards this tavern, get grabbed by a blonde-haired woman, and pulled inside as quickly as possible. What are the two of you doing? Are you going to continue following him? Are you going to continue keeping an eye on him? Or just going to kind of leave it alone?
As soon as they're out of eyeshot, I will flatten my back to the entrance of the tavern and try to hear what they're talking about.
Okay. So you're going to kind of stay around the tavern, trying to listen in.
I was trying to see if I specifically heard if he told her to hide him away.
Yes. You would have heard that he is looking for a place to hide.
Okay.
Yep. And that she hid him.
And then I'm going to run back to Averine and be like, okay, well, he's inside and he paid some blonde lady a lot of money to stow him away somewhere.
What aren't you telling me? Why is he so afraid of you?
I don't think it's me. He came to me, presumably hunted by something else. I mean, it was midnight when we launched. It's a little weird.
But if he's in danger, maybe we should go in and see if we can help.
I don't know. Well, we don't know what he's doing. What if he's a bad guy?
Only one way to find out. Let's go in.
So the two of you step into the tavern.
I'm gonna let Averine jolly on jaunt her way in, and I'm going to be much more stealthy. I'm gonna give her a second, and then I'm gonna slide in, keep my head down.
The tavern is busy. There are plenty of people in there, and this woman, this half-elven individual, is really keeping the crowd busy. You don't see the guy that was running. You don't see Sandir at all.
Barkeep!
He's gone.
Barkeep!
Aye.
Who's that up there? Who's that up there performing?
Oh, that's the lovely Carmen. There ain't no one better.
She's good, is she?
Oh, yes. Aye.
Does she have, many gentlemen friends? Is she one of those?
If that's what you like, then you'll have to deal with her about that. She just comes here and works. Personal level, you gotta talk to her. She's a very nice woman. You can talk to her. Very approachable.
Well, I'm looking
Many a night.
I'm looking for one of my friends in particular. Bald man, in a rush. Have you seen the man?
I may have seen a man like that before. Plenty of people in a rush in a tavern like this.
Like very recently, like within the last minute.
Roll a persuasion check. And you have to beat Carmen's performance. With a 10, unfortunately, he trusts Carmen a little bit more, since he knows Carmen, than he does you, Averine, as you're new to this area. So he will he'll say, I don't know where he is or what's happened to him. Just saw a guy come in, come out. He's probably long gone by now.
Does Carmen play long sets, or can I, when do you expect her to be done with her performance?
In a moment or two. Her performances only last a minute or 5, depending on how many people are in the joint and how much money she can earn.
Like, you've been very helpful.
You're welcome. You're
I'll walk
welcome.
away, and then I'll grab a table and watch the show.
Okay. Meanwhile, while the show is going on, there is a loud crash coming from below the tavern, where Carmen had hidden away this individual. This huge explosion of a crash sounds as if something big had just rumbled the entire basement. What are you going to do, Carmen?
She played her fiddle in an Elvish band and she fell in love with Barbarian. Kissed her on the neck and he took her by the hand and said, baby, I just want to dance. Whoa! And I get everyone up.
Okay, so
Stop stamping my feet.
with the loud crash that happened, you make a point to be louder and try to draw more attention towards yourself.
My pretty little barbarian. Woo! Na na na, barbarian.
Okay, roll me another performance check.
Oh, God, okay.
Okay, still very good, very good. All right. It was a good performance. It was a good distraction. Unfortunately, it didn't distract Averine and Zola enough to draw their attention towards you and not to the explosion that happened below deck, below the tavern. Are the two of you going to be doing anything?
I'm waiting for Carmen's set to end so I can speak to her.
Okay. You are muted.
That was such a wonderful accent too. I did. Oh well, they'll never hear it. I said.
I heard it.
Hark, hark, hark. Nope, can't do it again. Hark. What is that I hear?
And nothing. Like after the crash, you don't hear anything else other than the singing and dancing. A moment later, the set will end and Carmen finishes her show. Everything is calmed down. The people are having a great time. Money and flowers are being thrown at her. Meanwhile, Gregory, from your point of view, you were watching from the eyes of Sandir. He was hidden away in a little cubby hole underneath the tavern when a flash of light and a huge blue portal opened up and an individual stepped through into the lower levels of the tavern. Waltzing towards Gregory, he pulls out a long, curved dagger, and with a grin on his face, you see terror and understanding come upon Sandir's face when he sees the dagger, though you don't recognize any sort of significance about it. The dagger itself is got a black blade, like a dark, shiny blade. The hilt appears to have been made out of bone almost, and at the very end of the hilt, the pommel, wouldn't it be? Is that right? The bottom, yeah, the pommel. It appears to be what looks like a large pearl. The large pearl appears almost translucent as you can see through it, but there is a bit of a cloudy mist within. As the dagger is being pulled, this strange, shadowy figure, who for some reason your eyes can't focus on, steps forward and just speaks to Gregory in Abyssal. Speaks to Sandir in Abyssal. Gregory, do you speak Abyssal?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Don't think so.
Okay, I can
think I
double
speak
check.
Infernal.
Yeah, I believe that's the case as well. Yep. All right. Then this strange language is spoken that you don't quite understand. Some words are somewhat similar, but you don't know the meaning. Sandir is terrified. He desperately casts a fireball spell and tries to run out of the tavern. The fireball causes that loud explosion as a couple ale casks light up and explode, and a moment later, running up and out of a back door of the tavern comes Sandir, desperately tearing his way through the streets. He runs down an alleyway that he's not ever used before, that he doesn't recognize. This alleyway, unfortunately for him, ends in a dead end. The walls of the buildings in Baldur's Gate just soar so high to the sky, and in his panic, he's not able to think quickly enough to get himself out of it. He turns and looks and sees this shadowy figure continue to follow him and just walk slowly and ominously down the streets towards him, begging desperately for his life. In Abyssal, this shadowy figure brings the dark dagger, and as he slides it into Sandir's chest, he simply says, in words that you can understand, Gregory, "Our master thanks you for your sacrifice." And as the blade sinks within his chest, and the life disappears from Sandir. Gregory, you're pulled back and suddenly awoken in your bed.
I'm going to get up and get some water. Just take a drink. Heart's racing a little bit. Just, Gonna get a drink. Gonna think for a second. And then without saying a word, I'm going to stand and I'm going to grab my cloak and I'm going to put it on and put everything in my pockets because you never know if you're going to come back or not. And then I'm going to walk out because that was a dream, but it seemed stronger than a dream. And I recognized roughly where we were at. So I'm going to go do some investigating and see what I find down in that part of town.
Okay. All right. Now, moving briefly back to the alley. Blue. Sandir had no idea, but at the end of this alleyway, amidst a bundle of cloth and behind trash piles, was a large blue furbolg. You were woken up by the panting and the screaming of this human individual, but your instincts kicked in enough to know you should stay hidden for at least but a moment and watch and see what happens. You are the only individual who actually gets a physical view of the person that is hunting Sandir. Now, you watch as the shadows seem to build up and combine into this humanoid form. 6'2" so a tall humanoid form that seems almost like his lower half is made of the shadows of the area around, and the entire alleyway almost feels like it gets darker at the point that he is stepping through. His upper torso is much easier to see. He too is wearing long red robes, similar to Sandir, but his head and skin have a very pale, almost a pale blue tinge to it. The skin is tight to his flesh, to his skull, to the point where you're not sure if you actually see eyeballs or just simply depressions in the bone itself. The skin slides over the skull as he smiles and then begins to speak, pulls out this accursed dagger and plunges it into the heart of Sandir. As Sandir falls, you see a spark of light ignite at the end of the pommel of the dagger before a tunnel of blue once again is created, and this shadowy figure walks and steps through this portal, disappearing out of sight from view. What would you do, Blue?
He's gonna break himself out of whatever small amount of shock he was in from the sight of being woken up. Not sure if that was a dream or not. Yeah. He's been sleeping rough and he's not very sure how he feels about it. He looks around to see if anybody else is there. In the shadows.
As of right now, you are alone with the body of Sandir, but go ahead and roll me a perception check. 21. Okay. You don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see anything in particular about it, other than the fact that around the body, it almost looks as if the ground has become scarred. The ground at... did we lose Carl from Roll20? Oh.
Yeah, roll 20 gave me a little message saying that connection was interrupted, but I appear to be back now.
Okay, cool. You're back. Yeah. The ground around the body has been almost broken through from the underneath and created a form of sigils in the ground beneath him. Almost like the ground has been pushed up and you can see rivers of red flame cutting across.
It's going to slowly get out, approach the body. These are little tendrils of red flame. How far out are they coming?
Effectively, let me actually... I've got a image that could apply but not perfect that can be used. So, and it's on a really bad background, so bear with me one moment. Oh, that's not going to work. Here we go. So that image that you can see there, imagine those blue lines are actually red, and it's like embers, like the ground has melted and slight bits of flame in those sigils and those lines all around the body of Sandir.
Do you understand the language?
What languages do you speak?
Elven, Common, Giant.
Then unfortunately you do not understand the language.
Can I approach the body? Can I see if if his eyes are open?
Yes, you can. His eyes are wide open. There is almost a look of fear straight upon him. But even as you're stood over his body, watching the form, it almost looks like his body is drying out as every piece of spare flesh or meat is being sucked away from his body.
Okay. He will kneel down over the body, not sure what's going on. He's going to see if he can find any kind of a form of identification or anything on this guy before he completely decomposes.
Okay, all right. Then while that's happening, we will jump back to the tavern. Carmen finishes her set at about the same time that Sandir is murdered. So, what would the three of you be doing?
If he ran out of tavern, I would have stopped what I was doing and followed him.
He specifically ran out the back in such a way that he didn't pass out through the front.
Okay. All right. So if Carmen's free, I will walk up to her and say, "Can I please have 5 minutes of time?"
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry, what was that, darling?
Can I please have 5 minutes of your time?
Yeah, buy me a drink. You can have you know, I'll give you 10, you buy me a drink.
I can, 5 is good.
Alright, okay, fine, you can have 5 for free.
I'm a little light on cash.
Oh no, don't, that's fine, don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, that was an awesome song. I got everybody moving. That was really good.
Thanks.
Very few bards, you know, especially during the day, can get people up on their feet. So that was great.
I love your hair.
I love your hair.
Oh, I love yours. It's like really thick and full, and it's really nice.
And yours is so long and flowy, and it touches the breeze, and I love how it just.
Thanks. Myself.
I would have never been able to tell. That looks like a 400 gold piece haircut.
Thanks, love.
So, I'm part of a merchant ship, the Mary Axolotl. We just arrived, and we had a fella that was on our ship. He was a bald guy wearing red robes, and he seemed a little bit like he might have been in some trouble. and I just wanted to check up on him and see if he was okay. Someone said they saw him going into this tavern. Have you seen him? I'm a little worried.
He's tricky. I see a lot of guys. A lot of guys.
I'm not the one that he was running from. He was on my ship. He actually paid us to move.
Oh no! Look, no man's gonna be running from you. Don't you worry about that. I did see a bald guy earlier. Like he kind of ran in here. I think he had a drink problem because he was just he ran to the bar super quick, and I was like, all right, you carry on. But then I went up on stage, so I don't know what happened after that.
I've never seen Sandir drink before.
Sandir, did you say?
Yeah, that's his name, or at least the one that he told us.
That's a nice name. I like that name. Okay. No, I was outside. I was having sneaky ciggy, and he just really wanted to come in and have a drink. I was like, go on, off you go.
Are you sure you haven't seen him? Like, he doesn't seem like the drinking type.
Oh no, like I say, I saw him run in, and then I went up on stage, and just that's it.
I think I caught you might have been talking to him for a second.
No, he ran up, and he was like, need a drink, and it was like, tavern, in you go. There's nothing really more to say.
Okay, well, if you see him, let him know that I'm looking for him and that we're worried.
Carmen,
yeah.
Roll a deception check contested by Zola's insight. Okay. Carmen, you believe you are being perfectly deceptive, and you believe you've done everything right. Unfortunately, Zola, you see right through it.
I've still been playing as if I have seen right through it.
Good. Okay. So, would you do anything with that?
I'd have to sit down and regroup my thoughts.
Okay.
Do you want me to get you a drink?
Oh no, that's all right. I'm
Are you
still worried
sure?
about
Are you
this guy.
sure?
If I find out he's in trouble, I don't want to be, feeling a little unbalanced or anything.
Okay. Is Averine with her at the moment?
I think Zola made a point to be separated from Averine.
Averine was at the bar. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Averine, as Carmen's set ended, what are you doing?
I would have seen Zola interrogating, and I would have stood back and let Zola take care of it.
Okay. Then, at this point, Carmen, would there be any point in which you would go down and check in on Sandir, check in on the hiding spot?
Yeah, I would now, because now I've got people questioning me. I've got trust issues anyway, so I would now, because I'm thinking I don't want any trouble coming my way because of this. It was just a quick earner for me.
All right. As you step away from Zola and Averine and the entire tavern, you head down to the back.
Follow stealthily.
Stealth check.
Can I check someone's following me?
What's your passive perception? 13? No, 11. Your passive is 11. Go ahead and roll a perception check. You have the perfect perception when it comes to knowing your tavern. Unfortunately, Zola is just that much better than you. As Zola is able to keep herself hidden from you as you're headed down. Now, you go down and are immediately taken aback by the fact that Sandir is definitely not there, since the entire underside of the tavern has exploded, with casks of ale just shattered all over the floor. Huge mess, which you're probably going to have to pay for since you hid him. And you can tell that there has been some sort of encounter that's happened in here.
Okay.
What would you do?
I would look for any anything that's been left, any weapons, any marks, any signs of what could have happened. Could I see any doorways left open or anything for where they might have gone?
Okay. With your perception, you can definitely see open doorways and passages. You will need to roll a survival check to try and track him down and follow the tracks that you see. Unfortunately, your ability to find tracks slows you down considerably. You do still find him. You do still find the tracks. It's easy to find, but you're a bit slow at it. Slow enough that Zola and Averine, should Averine wish, can follow you the entire way towards Sandir's body.
Okay.
Do they wish to do so?
Yeah, and if she was headed out from the back way, I would have gone up and got Averine and said, if you want to part in this, if you want to see the end of the story, we're all going this way now.
You have captured my imagination. Let's find out what happens.
Okay. So, at this time, as you move through the streets and follow this alleyway to its ultimate end, Carmen, you see Sandir, though obviously far more shriveled and far less to him than you had originally, when you had last seen of him. You can see the ritualistic state of his body and a blue figure, tall blue creature, hunched over his body, patting him down, looking for identification. What are you going to do when you see this furbolg?
Whoa! What are you doing there, Squirt?
He's going to get up it quite quickly, as quickly as a big, large creature can
Whoa,
get.
hold up. I'll pull out a dagger.
You pull out a dagger on Blue, okay?
Just because he's big. You're big.
I did not do this.
And would you like to tell me what has happened? Because, I'm going to have to pay a lot of money for the beer back there that you, got blown up.
I do not know.
You don't know what? What?
Some creature. Of shadow. He killed the man. I do not know.
You've been drinking.
I wish. I cannot afford to.
It looks like someone sucked the life out of him. Jesus Christ. All right.
You look normal.
Oh, you know what? You know what? You never saw me. I'll leave you to it. I'm gonna walk away.
At this time, before you can actually walk away, and to make matters worse, out of a corridor, turning around just almost the same time as Averine and Zola, comes this dark red-skinned devil. As he starts walking straight towards you and straight towards the body of Sandir.
I'm also going to go straight towards the body of Sandir and be like, Sandir, no! And collapse over him and pretend to sob.
Everyone is kind of arriving at about the same time as this devil is approaching. What's the devil doing?
Does the devil have invisibility? I think I have C invisibility, but I don't know if I have invisibility.
Let me check your spells. You have C invisibility, but no, you don't have invisibility.
All right. Well, so I'm just gonna walk up and somewhat menacingly, just like big scary cloak. I know what I look like. Just kind of come up and do that, where you're silent and just kind of looking, and you just wait for someone else to get really uncomfortable and start to fill in the gaps. So we're just going to try to intimidate by my mere presence.
What is everyone else doing?
Crying over Sandir.
I am walking away, quietly, stealthily, as quickly as I can.
The devil gets in the alleyway door, so you can't sneak away if that tries to happen.
Okay, I'm going to nervously look around for another way out.
Zola, why
Also
are...
looking around for a way out. He doesn't like the fact that he's been caught in a situation and that looks incriminating to him.
Zola, I had no idea the man was so dear to you.
She pops up and her face is dry. She says, "He's not. He really needed to know who was hunting him."
Did,
No, I'll never find out.
Did Blues happen to find anything on that body before he got interrupted?
No form of identification, as that doesn't exist in the Forgotten Realms. You find some papers and notes on him. They're scrawled in just chicken scratch, practically. Close examination of his notes that he does have on him mention something called the Soulmonger, but you have no idea what the Soulmonger is.
I didn't get any time to read that. I would have been.
Yeah.
But they're kind of in my hand, like I'm not hiding them. Yeah. I'm trying to be. I'm not got my hands up. I'm kind of just passively, like quite low, hands out in a. I don't mean you no harm, because he's a big guy. He's imposing. He's just. No, I did not do this.
So, here we are at the death of a member of the Brotherhood. And here you all are, over his body, not unsuspiciously. So, looking at the bard, what happened here?
Do I know history? Do I know that he is a tiefling? I would have seen this race before in my history growing up.
Trying to think of your... It's very possible that in your history you would have experienced a tiefling. So go ahead and roll me a history check. It's going to be fairly easy.
Okay.
Let's just see how quickly it comes to your mind. Okay. Your family have definitely dealt with tieflings in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just straight, not because I'm a tiefling, but just because I'm somewhat foreboding and the situation is rough, can I just try to intimidate her right now to spill her guts and spill her secrets?
You can attempt to do so. Go ahead and roll an intimidation check.
Erin, pretty please, can you roll for me?
Yeah, I can do that. Give me just a moment. You have a +7 to your intimidation. So that is a 24 on his intimidation. Can I have an insight check from you, Carmen, please?
Oh,
No, you can't beat it.
I can't beat it.
You can't beat it. Okay. So you feel intimidated by this gentleman. Now, players can't force other players to do anything through rolls, but you do feel intimidated.
Okay. Okay. Well, why are you questioning me, Horny?
You get one eyebrow, like one high arched, pointy eyebrow, just waiting for a response.
And I stare right back at him.
It's probably because you're the most obvious liar.
That one makes a good point.
Ooh, okay.
I didn't mean anything by it. When you tried it on me earlier, and I didn't believe it for a second. So
Okay, apologies. I didn't realise children were allowed to speak as well as be seen. So, well, listen, look. I walked through here. This guy just made a whole mess in the bar, which I'm gonna have to pay for. So, I just came out to find out what's going on. I have nothing to do with this. You know what? I'm gonna get out of your way. You don't need to deal with me. You don't want to deal with me because I talk too much. Obviously, you probably can see that. So just...
She hit him away for a second.
What was that? Sorry, Zola.
She hit him away for a second. That was what she did with him.
Oh, she did. So you were following him before he met this Chatterbox.
Yeah, girl. You're fine.
Yeah, I was.
And where do you come from? And why are you standing over his dead body? Not unsuspiciously, I might add.
No, it's okay. I'll tell you. I got nothing to hide there. Same thing I told the blonde lady. I'm from Chult. This is Aberreen. I'm Zola. Hi, nice to meet you.
A pleasure.
Does he take her hand that is offered?
Yeah, actually, you put out your hand, and he's not going to kiss it, but he'll take it in kind of almost like, it's not a handshake. It's almost like it's the way you would think a handshake would go, where they take your hand and kiss it eventually, but it's more of he puts out his hand, there's a brief touch.
I'm going to notice that.
The hand is red, but the nails are black and pointed.
I'm from Chult. That is also where this fellow just came from. He hired my vessel, the Mary Axolotl, in order to come here, and it seemed like he was being followed by something, and he seemed real scared about it. And so I just wanted to make sure he was okay after he landed, and he didn't end up being okay.
What a pleasure to meet one who speaks forthrightly and truthfully. So tell me, do you know who are these others two that are with you?
Not really. Why are you interested? Were you trying to help him too?
Oh, I happen to know him quite well. I knew he was coming from Chult and on your vessel. So I know you are a trustworthy sort. But if you cannot vouch for these other two, and he turns on them and his eyes pierce you with their yellow gaze, perhaps we should see what their involvement in these machinations are.
Yo, Blue, Blake, whatever your name is, wait. You wanna step in?
I have nothing to do with this.
See?
See, you can have these papers. I found them on the body, but I want nothing to do with this.
You shouldn't have touched the body.
He died in front of me. I didn't know if I could help.
What are all these? Go ahead, sir, Matt.
No, I should have been quiet, because that's what I'm doing. I'm being quiet and intimidating. Go ahead.
Am I intimidated by him? I'm a big bloody giant, half giant.
You roll an insight check. You've got to beat that 24.
Can't beat that 24, but not with that one.
No.
No, not with a 17.
What are all these markings all over the ground?
They happened after he stabbed him.
Can I investigate those markings?
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
If they're arcane, I could also roll an Arcana check. Would either be better?
You could also roll a religion check if you were religiously inclined.
Arcana it is.
Okay. These are definitely magical sigils. There is some form of magical energy coming off of this arcane, this ritual site here. And that's what it immediately triggers to you. You immediately feel and sense that this is a ritual that has happened, is still happening, is still running. Even while everyone is stood there talking around the body, you can glimpse slowly but surely pieces of Sandir's body are being withered away, piece by piece, into the heart of this ritual circle.
Can Grigori test to see if he recognizes it and knows what that is? Because while I'm trying to be calm and scary, if that needs to be like counteracted right now and Grigori knows what it is, he'd try to do that.
Okay. You can, because of your backstory, your history, there is a chance that you might have heard about this kind of thing. So go ahead and roll I say roll. You're in a car right now, so don't roll.
Yeah.
Kids, do not roll and drive. Do not D&D and drive. There's the word. Do not D&D and drive. So let me roll.
Driving is really difficult and
Not safe.
and can hurt the roof of your car.
All right. So you have a +4 to your history check, so I will roll. Unfortunately, with a 9, you, as of this moment, maybe it's the heat of the situation, maybe it's just the obscurity of the sigils, you don't quite recognize what this is.
If the fellow was dear to you, we should pull him out of this circle. It's consuming his bones as we speak.
Dear is a strong word.
I'll do that. I'll move him out of the circle.
Okay. As you touch his flesh and begin to pull him away from the circle, you feel a power is pulling him back and sucking him in. So it's a bit of a force to be able to move him out. You're going to have to roll an athletics check, Zola. And you crit. Is that our first
Give
crit?
me that wizard!
Nice.
Yep, that is our first crit of the campaign. So you drag his body clean off of the sigils, and the moment his body separates from this arcane ritual site, the light coming off of it seems to die down, and the ground almost stitches itself together in its place, thus ending the ritual. The body is frail. It's practically just bone and bits of flesh here and there within his robes. What would you like to do, folks?
Mr. Redman,
Give me those papers.
should we tell the authorities about this? Or is this under some kind of jurisdiction?
Let me see those papers first.
Don't be doing that. You're here as well.
Blue hands the papers over slowly.
Mm-hmm. Poring over the papers, Gregory, as again, his notes were in a variety of different languages. He tried to create a form of cipher that unfortunately it's difficult to be able to translate without him, as is the nature of wizards and the way they separate their spells. It'll take time to be able to decode. But you can clearly, just as easily as Blue could have, if Blue had been inclined to do so, read in the notes the word soulmonger repeatedly, followed by power, godhood. He's no longer driving.
I'm alive!
Right. So,
Power, godhood.
those are the 3 words that you can gain from the papers, is soulmonger, power, godhood.
Does soulmonger mean anything to me?
No.
Well, let me ask you. Who do you think killed him? Little blonde girl who has to pay for a whole bunch of
I
ale.
saw the thing.
Listen to the blue man.
It was Shadow in a red robe.
It was Shadow, whoever that is.
Just approached him slowly with no legs and then thrust a knife into his gut.
Dude. Like, he's got to have legs, surely.
No.
Oh.
I saw no legs. It was like he
A
was
tail?
part of Shadow.
Part of Shadow.
Sounds a little bit like a demon or something.
Maybe like you, friend. What are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah,
What
what do you want? In an alley.
You make accusations, but you don't explain yourself.
He said he was associated with the fella.
Yeah,
Indeed.
associate.
Indeed, he owed me let's just say we had a certain understanding, and he owed me somewhat. Unfortunately, I now have a problem. He was supposed to bring me something. These papers help, but they don't have all of it, and now I'm in the difficult situation of having to determine where he came from and who killed him and why.
No,
Because
came
for
from Schultz.
particular reasons. Came from Schultz. Thank you. You there, blonde-haired girl. How much are you going to have to pay to fix all that damage that you mentioned?
quite a bit, I imagine. But, you know, that's if I go back there. I kind of have to, because, like, I left my loot back on the bar, so... Don't know.
So here's what we'll do. And I turn and I walk away a little bit and I strike a pose in the front of the alley. So I've got shadow on the back of me and I am super menacing. And my eyes are yellow and they're like glaring through the darkness. Here's what we can do. You're very right. This was an affront to society. A murder out in the open like this. That shouldn't stand. That needs to be resolved. You, blue hairy fellow, you saw the murder, so you'll have to come with us. The other two seemed to know the man who died and where he was coming from, Sandir. So you should come along and help as well. I'm sure you'd want to avenge a mate from your travels. And you, little bard woman,
My name's
I'll pay
Carmen,
the...
by the way.
Carmen. I'll arrange to make all your troubles with the tavern go away if you'll just tag along and make sure we find the right guy.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think, huh?
Oh, and I should say this offer is definitely being put out in the intimidating sense, like, I've made you an offer you can't refuse.
Zola, what were you going to say?
I was actually going to ask you, Mr. Redman, if you wouldn't mind if I tagged along for this investigation, because I would also like to see, you know, what my homeland has to do with this.
That is very good of you.
I would like to see
Very
this
good of you.
through to
You're
the end until we acquire some information, if it's okay with you.
See, this is the kind of attitude more of Baldur's Gate should have. Truly, you are a paragon
Stop.
of your people.
Stop! Too many compliments today.
All right, fine. I'll come with you. I'll give you a hand. But I'll be a smile as well.
There is obviously some great evils involved here. You say you're from Chult? Where is this?
South. South and...
When he says
West.
south, you're going to see his eyes go a little bit wider.
Is that not okay?
No.
Elaborate, please. Pretty please?
You know what elaborate means? Huh?
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
people are strange to me. I have heard there is evil in the south. And now I have witnessed it.
Like,
Strange that this is where you're from.
like what kind of evil? Like apocalypse?
The man that killed him, they knew each other. He said when he died, and I can't remember, but Blue does.
Blue speaks almost perfect copy of what he heard, which was, "Our master thanks you for your sacrifice."
He wore the same red robes.
Oh, there's evil many places, not just in the south.
He vanished in a portal. Magic portal. Stepped through before him. The sigil created itself.
Can I just does my magic sense tingle? Do I sense a portal is opened?
You can roll an Arcana check to see if you're that attuned to the arcane nature of the world to see if there is any leftover residual.
Ectoplasm.
Yep.
Residual.
There we go. Yes, I mean the air around this area just seems to be teeming with arcane energy, not just from the portal, but also the ritual and the body itself seems to be giving off some form of arcane nature to it even now. So, if Blue gives a physical description about the upper half of the body, would he?
Yeah, I would have described. Yeah, I was trying to describe the whole body, but yes, like his skin was pale, thin, almost dead.
So anyone that wishes to can roll a history check. This check is easier for Gregory than others. Okay. Since you don't have a character sheet set up.
No, I got it.
You got it? Okay. All right. So Gregory and Averine both understand the description of the upper half of this individual to be that of a lich. A lich from Cholt apparently murdered Sandir.
You're describing an undead creature of great magical power.
Sorry, what?
The creature you describe is an undead.
Okay.
It died once, but then it didn't stay dead. Does that help?
No, I understand you. I just don't understand her.
Okay.
She speaks strangely.
You're one to
What would you
talk.
guys- Yep.
Before we move on,
I do talk, yes.
before we move on, can we introduce each other since we'll be working together? Again, I'm Zola. This is Averine.
Pleasure.
Zola hails from Chult, I understand. And Averine?
I'm from Burdusk. It's just east of here.
And how may we call you, Mr. Redskin?
You may call me Grigori. Or any variation thereof. Sorry about the whole smoke and mirrors, big scary ominous guy kind of thing. I'm really quite nice.
I believe it. And I think that the scary thing is pretty useful.
Oh, I should say,
I
as soon as I said, you may call me Grigori, there was the crash of lightning and thunder. He casts thaumaturgy. Every time he says his name, there's the crash of lightning and thunder in the background. So that happened.
Okay. All right. So
And
what would
you,
guys... Yeah.
Little
sorry.
blonde girl.
Girl. I'm Carmen. I'm from around. I can also cast prestidigitation and have like birds like tweets and like just like a
Yeah, mind your tone, Gregory. She's an adult woman. She had no girl.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Well, I suppose I am outnumbered in the guy to girl department. Although I guess that depends. Blue, are you a guy or a girl? What's your name?
I have no name. But you can call me Blue if that helps you.
Okay.
Do not
Second
use-
question.
We describe ourselves with description. We do not use a name.
So how do you describe yourself?
Others describe me as the one with endless rage.
edgy.
I did not name myself.
Tall one with endless rage.
What?
Well,
Blue is, I like blue. I understand your people use these names. So
So the abbreviation of that is Tower. The one with endless rage.
Go be
Zola,
Tower.
Zola, you have a mind like a steel trap.
You go with that.
Goes so quickly.
Thank you.
I'm
You have nice horns.
Okay.
I like that. What is a tower?
Tower is a word for a tall defensive structure.
That's
Like
Tower.
like
That's Tower. That's Tower. That's Tower.
Oh god, it's come by this whole time.
The stone things. I understand. I like this. They are strong and tall. This is a good name.
All right, well, it sounds like our clue is that it is an undead creature from Chult. Is that where we head to next, or is there somewhere else that we need to go first?
Well, where were you before he got murdered?
Carmen's Tavern.
At the bar.
Well, that blew up. Where was he before that?
Oh no. The cellar is a little bit. The main bar's fine, and I need to pop in there really to pick up my loot.
Like, da-la-la, or like money?
Like I never leave my money lying around. What do you think I am? I know I'm blonde, but not that blonde.
Gregory, you said that he had some affiliations.
Yes, I had hoped perhaps you could tell me where he was so we could search his latest room. See if these papers are complete or incomplete, or if he left any personal belongings behind. Hence the question where he was before the bar that blew up.
He was on my ship, the Mary Axolotl. And I don't believe he left anything behind, but we could definitely go check.
Well, a deal is a deal. I believe I have to make some arrangements with the barkeep anyway. Perhaps we will pass by there and then go to your vessel.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
I'll
As
link my
the
arm into
group-
his.
As the group make their way back
And
down
he takes it willingly, and off you go. And he snaps his fingers and says, "Come along, everyone else, don't dawdle. Be like this gal. She knows what's going on."
If they're going into a local bar area, Blue is going to Tower now.
Yeah.
He's going to use disguise self, and he's going to turn himself into an average-looking human.
Okay. And in your opinion, what does an average-looking human look like?
Dark hair, 5'6", probably shorter than Carmen. He doesn't want to look conspicuous. Maybe slightly older, in their 30s and 40s, slightly overweight.
Okay. So, experiencing quite a few humans, you have picked up little pieces that you would kind of mash together into generic human.
Yeah, he's been on the streets observing humans for a week or two now, and he's been trying to blend in and not be conspicuous when he's out in the open. So this is a regular occurrence for him.
Okay. What I'd like to know is your disguise self a copy of another human that you've seen previously, and so thereby could possibly run into, or is it just a mismatch of human parts?
Probably a mismatch of human parts.
Okay, cool. All right. So you all make your way back towards the tavern. Tower suddenly changing and shifting himself into a normal human being. Don't know if anyone picks up on that. But stood in the back doorway with his arms folded, looking very cross at Carmen, is the barkeep.
I'm gonna cast disguise self on myself before we get there.
All right. What are you going to look like?
I I am going to look like I'm going to make myself a man to have another man not pay too much attention to me. I'm just going to try and just look as very standard as I can. So I'm going to go for dark hair, a beard. I'm going to look a bit dirty. I'm going to look like I've just got off a ship because we're at the docks. Just going to try and blend in.
Okay, fair enough. Is anyone else changing their appearance?
No, but I am going to hang outside the tavern.
Okay, all right. As you all approach, you see the very cross tavern owner, the barkeep, stood in the back doorway, tapping his feet furiously, waiting for Carmen to return, though Carmen doesn't. Now, obviously, this is the backside of the tavern, so you can go around it and get to the front easily and just kind of skip it, or you could try to engage with him and walk in. What do you guys do? You just walk around it?
Grigori walks straight up to
the barkeep.
Tavern owner, the barkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Just says, You do not need to know who I am, but there are some people in high places who care very much. How much will it take to put your tavern right?
In a moment, calculations begin, and you can see that not just he's in his mind, not just calculating the actual cost, but calculating you. How much could he possibly try and get from you?
I foresaw this. I foresaw this, and I will use my portent, and whatever roll he's about to make, I'll change it to a 4.
Okay, all right. You're not using up your natural 1 portent?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Not yet.
Just
Okay.
But I will also say, weigh carefully your answer. And then again, lightning and thunder behind me, and my eyes flash yellow. And I am quite a diabolical figure.
Should we do an insight check or perception check to see what's causing the thunder? Because does that seem natural every time it happens?
Does your backstory include having ever been around a wizard before, or a sorcerer?
Well, I'm a druid and have grown up with druids, and they do magic. And an archdruid, I've been trained by an archdruid. So,
can druids cast thaumaturgy?
don't know.
That is a cleric spell.
I think so. Very sure.
Okay. Then how does the sorcerer have it if it's a cleric spell?
Because I have the divine soul background that lets me take sorcerer and cleric spells.
Fair enough. So you wouldn't know that it's a spell naturally. So you can go ahead and roll a perception check, but you wouldn't know what's causing it.
Okay.
He looks up.
I'm really strange every time he says his name.
Nature's obviously broken.
Okay.
Okay, that's what you know. Nature doesn't work around this guy. He looks at you, Gregory, and he just 200 gold pieces.
Do I have any idea if that's fair?
You don't quite know how much destruction happened within his shop, so you wouldn't really know.
I guess the bigger question is, how much money do I actually have? I don't know what's in my pocket.
Think of this not so much as how much do you have, so much as I'm making sure that you're all on a clean slate at the beginning of the campaign. So you use up what's remaining of your extra cash before you set up by doing this and dealing with all this.
I will cast Charm Person. And he will be very happy for the 150 that I give him. And that will more than enough cover his...
Yep, he is very happy. Yeah, 150 sounds good, sir. Good. Yep. Yep.
Sorry for any inconvenience. Forget that anyone ever came to your basement. And in fact, as a favor, for just forgetting this ever happened. Here's an extra 50, which is 50 more than you needed. And then I leave.
Okay. The group leave. The barkeep feeling confident that he got a good deal at the 200. Carmen, you need to get your loot. Do you need to do anything else in the tavern?
I might have a few bits dotted around, but it'll be with the loot, so I'll just be packing up my bag. And that'll be it.
Okay. All right. Then, as you guys are grabbing all of your equipment and setting off, from this point on, as the adventure is really kind of starting, you guys have your starting equipment, and we've not covered starting gold yet, right? So, as of this moment, yes, Carmen had collected an extra bit from Sandir, but that is included in everyone starts the campaign with 150 gold. Okay.
So if we had any left from character creation, it doesn't matter. Everyone starts at 150. Is that right?
Did you go with starting equipment or starting gold?
I believe when we rolled the characters, I took my equipment and then I sold what I didn't need and then bought and that sort of thing.
I want to get everyone up to that flat slate of 150 to start with, and then you can manage your gold however you wish from that point on.
Okay.
I got an extra 30 for nothing.
Wasn't it just fun?
It was fun. It was fun.
All right. Then, after Carmen collects her goods and you guys are still following the, not so much command, but the instruction of Gregory, what are you guys doing?
I approach the older gentleman next to me who understand the magic of deception tool. I see.
Are you talking to me? Yeah. Well, you know, as and when.
But why disguises?
Many reasons. Many reasons. I say that by actually looking up. Many reasons. Many reasons.
Why are you looking up?
Because you're tall.
He disguised himself as a little bit smaller.
Yeah,
you can only go a foot shorter, though, can't you?
No, I can go 3 foot shorter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, okay. Are we out of sight? Are we out of sight of the tavern now?
Yes. You guys are in the streets of Baldur's Gate. It is late in the evening at this point, so it's probably time to go to get some rest at some point. But you are in the streets of Baldur's Gate.
Okay, I'm going to drop my disguise. If no one can see me, I'll just drop my disguise.
Okay.
In front of the tower. And just... There we go. Is that better?
Yes. Much more attractive this way.
Ah, I think we're going to get on. Cool.
Get on what?
And then
anyways. Okay. So, Gregory, what are your next steps in investigating this situation?
Heading back to the ship and searching his Sandir's berth, meaning BERTH, where one lives on a boat. I care not about his childhood.
Okay. All right. So, Zola, you can guide him to your ship without any issue. You guys can get to the ship within a couple minutes. It's not far away from the tavern, the docks. The room is fairly nondescript, fairly simple. He didn't have much on him that wasn't on his physical person. So go ahead and roll investigation checks as you attempt to look around the room he was staying in to see if he left any sort of clues.
Blue or Tower is basically just going to be completely in awe of this wooden vessel that's floating on the water.
Do you like it? It's
Yeah.
not mine, but I know the person that owns it.
It is remarkable.
Top speeds of 4 miles per hour, baby.
What is a mile?
Mile is a measurement of length. Quite a far one.
Does it
think
stay
it's
on
like
the
a-
water?
Huh?
Does it just stay on the water? It doesn't fly?
It's a boat.
Okay. Normal boat, standard boat. Alright.
Have you seen a flying boat?
Nah, I just heard about a few.
It is very remarkable.
Thank you. Would you like a tour?
I would love a tour. You're delightful.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
Well, while she does the tour, I'm going to surreptitiously be trying to gain all sorts of knowledge that I can use for my future advantage.
Okay, absolutely. So, investigating the boat and particularly Sanders' room, you guys didn't really see anything of any worth to this. He had obviously left in haste, so he hadn't taken care of anything. He just left behind the state that it was in. So there would be food trays, there would be mugs, the bed sheets were thrown to one side. Nothing that indicates him or what he was doing. You feel fairly confident that any such investigation would have to be done where he got on the boat, more than while he's on the boat itself. And so, while the party explore the ship and decide what their next steps are, we are going to take a 15-minute break. Join us back in 15 minutes, guys, as the party begin to head from Baldur's Gate to the land of Chult. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us during our little break while we were able to relax. So, jumping straight back into the action. The entire party have gathered onto the ship. Is there anything that the party would like to do in Baldur's Gate this evening before you set sail on your quest?
I will be posting a very quick... Can I post a letter? Or send a message to you quickly? Just back to my family to say that I am off to Chult.
Well, he's going to look very confused. We are travelers.
Do you guys, is that where we're headed? Where I'm headed.
Oh, wait, no. If we're going on a ship, then I'm just saying I'm off on a boat.
Hey, we're headed to Chult to find the murderer. The murderer.
It's been a murder.
There's been a
What did she
murder.
say?
We're going to find a murderer.
One who murders.
You are coming along to help us to say that is the person who killed him. Or at the very least, to help us understand why. Because you saw it. You were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and now you are being taken on an incredible journey. Don't fight it.
We are going south.
I hope it's incredible.
Aye, Chult is in the south.
Yes, I hope it's incredibly boring.
Why do you hope it's boring? Why?
Don't worry, Carmen. It's not going to be boring.
I hope not. Oh,
Have you ever seen a dinosaur?
sorry. What? A what?
What is a dinosaur?
Can I roll a history check to see if I know what a dinosaur is?
Everyone can roll a history check to see if they know what a dinosaur is.
Because I might have seen one. I might just be, fibbing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Gregory knows what a dinosaur is. Averine knows what a dinosaur is. Blue, unfortunately, doesn't. You've stuck to the forests. Makes sense. Carmen remembers having physical, she's played with tiny dinosaurs as a child. And obviously, Zola knows. She's from Chult. She knows dinosaurs. So you guys know that these are big, powerful beasts, not often found in the wild. Okay.
We need our druid to know what dinosaurs are.
I do not understand this name.
Well, they're kind of like what we use for beasts of burden, but because the temperature is so very hot and humid, a lot of mammals can't be put to work like saurians can, lizards and reptiles like that. So they're like giant lizards and reptiles, and some of them look pretty weird.
I have never seen a big lizard.
I'll let you know when we pass them. I'll be like, "That's a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur."
I would like to see one of these creatures. So it amuses me.
I can even probably get you to ride one if you want. That sounds cool.
It allows you to ride it?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them are built for that purpose.
Carl is literally laughing.
How do you build a creature like that?
It's husbandry, same as any kind of animal husbandry.
What is husbandry?
Shepherds.
It's going to be a long campaign.
You know shepherds?
What are shepherds? What is a field? No.
All right.
He doesn't farm, so he wouldn't know.
Fair enough.
The climate in Chult is very warm, so you may want to buy supplies to accommodate the temperature.
Yeah, make sure you got anything, no skin around your legs showing, because we have a lot of poisonous stuff around as well. You can't just walk through stuff.
He's wearing leathers and stuff.
I am actually going to go hit the markets before we leave. Does anyone want to come?
Aye, I'll accompany you, lass.
I have seen these markets. I do not understand what you do here.
At the market?
Yes.
You trade money for goods or services. So if you see something you like, you ask them how much it costs, and then they'll tell you the value, monetary value, and then you give them the coins that represent that value.
I have coin, but I do not know how much this is. You'll just show her the 150 go.
I can help you if you like. If you see something you like, you can let me know, and I can handle the transaction.
Yes, this would be agreeable.
Hey, tall man. Look after that. Take word from the wise. Just look after that. It could help you later. Yeah.
How would it help?
I don't know yet. Just look after your money. Yeah. Just trying to help.
He'll put it back on him.
I will actually just leave and say I've got some business to conduct before we leave, and I'm going to leave. I don't actually have any business. I'm just going to hit the streets and learn everything I can about the boat and about Tower and about this bard, and I'm going to do everything I can to just get any sort of an edge on these people before we have to go.
Okay.
While they're doing all of that, I'm going to go, and if we're going to be there for another, what, are we there for another day or another?
Just a night. The ship would leave the next day.
Oh, so it's just overnight then. So is the market open?
This is, well, no, not really. There are some merchants that still work and operate in the evening time.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate is a very, very busy town. So they do have some mercantiles that are open later in the evening. Your choices aren't that great, and prices are pretty high as a result, but it's still open.
Okay. Is there another tavern in Baldur's Gate?
Oh, there's plenty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you're used to most of them, so you head to one that you haven't exploded.
Yes. I'm going to one that I haven't blown up yet.
All right. You wanted to send a letter to your family?
Yes.
Okay. What is included in the letter?
Just a note to say that I'm well. I have met a new group of people. I've left the last group to their own devices. And I'm going to go over the sea, over to Chult, and to explore some more land. But I miss them. But I'm well, and I will write to them again soon.
Okay. All right. A courier will immediately begin the work. To take that letter off, it will cost you 20 gold to get that courier from Baldur's Gate up to Waterdeep.
Waterdeep, yeah, that's fine.
Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Merchant visits. Market Square. Who isn't going to the Market Square? I know Grigori isn't. Anyone else?
Off to the bar.
You were off at the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
So the three of you, Averine, Tower, and Zola, went to the Market Square. What are you looking for?
First, I'm going to take 20 gold out of my purse and then put the purse away and then put the 20 gold in my pocket.
Okay.
And then I'm going to look for a weaponsmith, specifically one that deals with ranged weapons.
Okay. You will be able to find someone who has a wide variety of weapons within town. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a hand crossbow, but I'm going to peruse very not in a rush. And about in the middle of the perusal, I'll lean over to Tower and ask him if he sees anything he likes.
You'll notice that he's got a pretty big, great sword. Slightly used. Quite old. Quite functional, but I am not in need of them.
Okay.
These are very nice. I've never seen new versions of this. We did not make them in my village. Tend to find them off other traders.
You can buy them straight from stores like this. Usually they come fresher, newer, less wear and tear.
They are very nice. I'm not.
I'm gonna go get my thing.
Okay. The store contains everything that you would find from the armor table on page 145 of the Player's Handbook, the weapons table from page 149 of the Player's Handbook, and everything in the equipment table that is 25 gold or less. Okay. So if there is anything that you would like other than the hand crossbow, let me know. The merchant there is a small little gnome, gentleman, big glasses. He's willing to sell you a hand crossbow for just a simple 80 gold pieces.
I place my hand on Zola's shoulder, and I whisper, "May the spirit of Azuth help you in your quest."
Do I know who Azuth is?
It's a fairly common, one of the major deities, so you would know of Azuth. You would know that he is guiding you in an attempt to persuade the price down. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that.
Yeah.
So I'll start kind of like I'm a clumsy kid. I'll start pulling the 20 gold out of my pockets and laying it all on the counter. Start counting it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. Averine, do you have any extra I think I might have a couple in a boot or something. You said 80?
Yes.
It's just like my dad's. I can't. Do you think it is? What about?
Tower's
what
gonna
about-
walk up and is this enough? And just hold out his.
No. I said let me do the.
Can I get a persuasion check off of Zola and add a d4 to it?
Don't report.
Okay. Now, 19. Okay. Zola, you understand that Tower is new to all of this. Not quite aware to all of the nuances and subtleties of this kind of thing. So as you see him stepping forward and lifting up his coin purse, you have but a moment to attempt to stop him from presenting his 150 gold to the shopkeep. What would you do to stop him?
Say he doesn't want your marble collection, Tower.
Okay.
It's not money. Put it away. Put it away.
But you said it was money.
Look at my eyes. Put it away.
Why do you wink at me so funny?
Would you like to pay for my hand crossbow? That would be very, very nice of you.
Unfortunately, the merchant sees the gold in the pouch and says to Tower, "Absolutely, this is, yep."
Thank you, Tower.
He'll take the coin purse of 150 gold and hand over the hand crossbow.
Okay.
So Zola now has a hand crossbow, her 20 gold. He's letting the little girl keep the 20 gold and is taking the rest.
Be like, thank you so much, sir. And I'll grab Tower and yank him out the door. And then as soon as we get outside, I'm going to kind of wrap my arm around his head and pull him down to my level and tell him the reason why I wanted to do the talking, if you were interested in anything, is because I know how much stuff is worth. And you just gave that guy a whole lot more money than that crossbow was worth at all. So you lost a lot out of that. I was trying to kind of delicately tell you to stop. It's not necessary. I was trying to haggle him down, which is what I do. I get more for less. So if you see me doing that again, a business venture like that, do not interrupt it. And do not offer your money up without checking with me or Everine, and Grigori can probably do a thing or two with finances as well.
So winking means no.
Winking means that something else is going on that you don't know about.
I see. Did I lose all my money?
Is that all you had?
Yes.
Then it seems like you may have.
No, that does not matter.
I'll hang on. I'll this 20 gold will get you pretty far. It'll definitely supply you with drinks and food and things like that. So I'll give you what I was at least willing to spend on the crossbow. So I'll give him 20.
It seems you keep it. It seems like I do not understand this, and maybe
The only way to eventually understand it, though, is to learn. So this seems like if you're coming into it now and you're only like, what, in your how old are you?
I am nearly 30 seasons.
Okay, so you probably have a lot more seasons to go. So you might want to have this in your repertoire of information.
I do not plan to be in the civilized world for much longer. But you are right, I should try.
Prepared for anything, you know?
So, what should I do? Should I go back to the man and demand my money back?
No, let's not do that, because as far
What?
as business practices go, well, the thing is that you can try. You can try to go in there and just actually explain to him that you weren't great with finances, but I don't see him being able to. I don't see him being piteous. Your problem, because all he wants is money, and you gave him a lot of it.
It is gold. I do not need these things, but it is fine.
Sure, you probably don't. Big guy like you, probably get whatever you want just by making a face.
Shall we go? Are you done?
I'm done.
I have learned a lesson. It has been good.
And if you have any questions, my door's always open for you.
Why would you leave a door open?
It's an expression. If you have any questions, I am always willing to answer them
Thank
to
you.
the best of my ability. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Any other shopping that you guys will be doing, or any other things you will be doing tonight? Before I move to Gregory.
Blue is out of money.
Okay. Gregory, go ahead and roll me an investigation check.
Does it look yet?
So you begin to ask around. Getting information about these particular individuals is really difficult, as none of them are from Baldur's Gate. You've managed to find yourself a group of folk that have no permanent ties to this city. No one's heard of Tower or Blue or the Furbolg that lives in the streets. Carmen, as best you can tell, she's a traveling bard. Came in with a group of adventurers recently who then left without her. And all you know about Averine and Zola is that they came on the ship. That's it.
I'm going to buy some poison for my daggers, and then otherwise just call it a day.
Okay. What kind of poison would you buy? Just generic?
I mean, pufferfish if they have it, but I'm not picky. Are there other different kinds of poison? I wasn't aware. Matthew was not aware there was more than one kind.
Okay. There is just generic poison, which is going to cost you 100 gold per vial. But then there's many more versions of poisons. Outside of this session, I will show you a list.
Can I get a
all of
poison
them.
that paralyzes instead of doing poison damage?
There are poisons that paralyze.
Can I afford any of them?
Let me double check. If anyone is interested, I use D&D Beyond for all of my notes and...
For all your magic needs.
Yeah. So, you have 150 gold. So, your options are just basic poison, which if you hit a creature with that poison, they have to roll a save or they are poisoned. Which poisoned usually means they have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. To make someone actually paralyzed, well, with 150 gold, you can either buy Assassin's Blood or Truth Serum. Assassin's Blood just deals extra damage and makes them poisoned, and Truth Serum obviously puts them under the effect of a Zone of Truth.
Truth serum all the way. Let's get one of those.
All right, 150 gold for a vial of Truth Serum.
Leaving town broke. Woo!
It's the way to do it. All right, then with that, you all sleep in your various places that you would be sleeping at, and then gather together in the morning for the journey at the ship. Whilst on the ship, Zola is captain. Zola is in charge, more or less. As it is her ship, it is her patron's ship. So very quickly upon arriving in the morning, Zola starts giving out instructions and commands, and you follow implicitly, I hope. But as you begin to set sail,
Grigori is going to do I'm not much of a sailor. I would just get in the way. I should really just stay back and observe. Maybe like right over your right shoulder, I could just stand there and learn and watch without ever actually, doing anything.
You smell like incense.
It's a slightly sulfurous incense, but yeah.
I don't think you want to smell like sulfur at all.
I mean, it's the smell of sulfur suppressed by other smells. No, that's a lie. He would smell sweet and savory. That's right.
There you go.
He smells good. Everything about him is very alluring. Savory is not the right word. He just smells sweet.
Oh,
he does not smell savory.
From the opposite of that, Tower hasn't washed in about 2 weeks. So there might be a mixed aroma.
Mm-hmm. Odor, Tower, Gregory mixes together and causes quite the cloud. All right, as you guys set forth onto your journey, the journey from Baldur's Gate to Chult, as I've said it before, will take 12 days, traveling at fastest pace with the ship constantly moving. The journey will take you as the simplest way through the strait between the Nelantha Isles and Velen. As you cut through past the islands there, as you make your way down towards Port Nyanzaru. Are there any sort of activities that you guys would be engaging in whilst on your 12-day journey on the ship?
I'd find an opportunity to chat with Grigori. Okay. You say the fellow who died owed you something. What is it that he owed you?
Oh, different people owe me all sorts of things. You could say I'm a merchant. I'm a merchant in favors and debts, as it were. So he was to bring me back something from Chult as a favor, as a debt. And he didn't have it on him when he departed this mortal coil. So...
You had not answered my question. I already knew he owed you something. What is it that he owed you? You said as much already.
Right. He owed me some information of a somewhat private nature. I suppose I could tell you if you made it worth my while. Being a merchant of favors and debts, I don't just give these things for free.
I'm already here, you daft fool. You already roped me into your expedition. What more do you want from me?
I mean, I don't want anything more from you. It's you who's asking something from me. And to get you, everything comes with a price.
I've paid your stupid price. Tell me what it is that he was supposed to bring you.
This is Matthew thinking for a second. There is certain information regarding the 9 hells and the afterlife that I wanted to know. Information about the nature of that place. He was sent because there was some rumor that reached my ear that such knowledge could be obtained in Chult. And he failed to return as he owed me.
Is there anything particular that you want to know about the 9 Hells? I've spent many days studying. I've studied the 9 Hells.
Have you indeed?
I'm fluent in Infernal.
Ah, well, I switched to Infernal and I start to speak with him in Infernal. And I say, well, I'm a bit of a religious buff, a bit of a religious scholar myself. And I was seeking more information about the nature of of the ruler of the Nine Hells, Asmodeus. I've heard it both ways. Depends on your accent.
The foul creature. You shouldn't.
Perhaps you
can't trust
could tell me more.
the Asmodeus of the Ninth. He's a foul creature. Evil is the evil is. You'll want nothing to do with that one. I tell you that for free.
He is the evilest of all. The most evil anyone could ever dream to be, truly. But if you could tell me any more about him, just for my own knowledge, I'd be quite interested to hear. And then I could owe you a favor.
So, can I roll to say what I know?
You are quite well versed in the study of the Nine Hells, so go ahead and do so. History check.
I should warn you, though, as a bit of a dabbler, you may not know anything I haven't already heard. Can you surprise me?
So, pretty much, you know everything there is to know of a public's guide to the Nine Hells. Everything contained in the libraries that you could read about the Nine Hells and Asmodeus, you do know and you understand. I'm going to just, rather than rattle off everything, Carl, do you already know quite a bit about that side of things?
Sure. I don't know what would be relevant. I will ask.
Well, let me ask this. Is there anything, being who I am, is there anything he could tell me that I don't already know?
No, not really. With your situation, there's nothing that he can tell you that you don't already know or understand.
So after that, thank you for sharing that. Perhaps we could discuss any other gods or religions you're familiar with. I am a scholar of all things. Perhaps there's something you'd like to know more about. I do owe you, after all, for your time. Though I did not learn much, it's always good to see another aficionado of knowledge.
I'll tell you again, Asmodeus is the evil can be. He's evil incarnate.
Indeed. Well, incarnate. I mean, he's in a different plane. He wouldn't be on this plane yet. That would be something indeed.
You would have picked up on the yet.
Do they tell me that you're planning to bring the foul beast to the material plane? Are you daft?
No. Nothing of the sort. Don't be concerned. I wouldn't possibly do anything so suspect. I was just curious about expanding knowledge. I'm equally curious about, say, Melora. What can you tell me about her? Well, I should say, what is your expertise? What do you know? Enough about me. Why were you coming from Chult in the first place?
I study the tribes in the jungles of Chult, and I spread knowledge of magic and other cultural finds from all around the world. I gather the knowledge and bring it back to Candlekeep so that we can copy it and spread it elsewhere.
Oh, well, do you have any new discoveries that I could see?
You seem like you're a know-it-all, so I'm sure I don't have anything to impress you.
Oh, that's possible. I'm a know-it-all because I absorb information from everyone I meet, including you, madam. You are quite knowledgeable, more so than perhaps 99 out of 100 people you would ever meet, and more knowledgeable than any male mage I've ever met.
You're not wrong.
So, anything else you guys are doing on your journey?
This is not going to work, but as I just chat with everyone and get to know them, I want to do an insight check to see if I can figure out their deepest insecurities and fears.
It's going to be impossible to insight someone and reveal their most secret
Right, but just
situations.
I want to do a role where just chatting with people, just getting to know people, just understanding better their motivations, but not like in a good way, in like a, I want to know more about you so I can use it later kind of way.
Okay, all right. Which of your charisma-based skills would you be employing for this?
Oh, good. I was going to use insight. I have a 1 on that. I'd gladly do something else. Let's see. I would use, I guess, deception. Just like, you only have the story and your best friend comes over and just can relate and is so empathetic and like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. I had the same kind of deal. But Grigori doesn't have any of that, so he's just lying to get into people's confidences.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a deception check.
When he does that to me, I'm going to use my portent and use that 4.
Ooh.
All right. So with his 7, that actually did drop it down from a 13 to an 11. All right. So anyone that wishes to thwart Grigori's attempts at gaining a bit more information about you through a discussion can roll an opposing charisma-based skill check, any of the which that you would like. The DC for everyone is 13, except for Averine, where it's 11.
Blue won't be Tower won't be opposing.
Okay.
He's going to be an open book.
So which one can I roll?
So either insight or any charisma-based skill, you can contest him. Okay. 17. These guys are tough. However,
so cagey, all of them.
Tower is so simple. You don't really get much out of him anyway. In terms of his
You'll notice that he'll be scratching his tattooed red hands. There'll still be scars on there, like they've only been tattooed in the last couple of weeks. They're still quite kind of fresh.
Would he have been able to figure out why your hands were tattooed red?
If you ask me, he'd tell me.
Why are your hands tattooed red?
They are a mark. You will not understand the mark.
Do I understand the mark?
It's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night. Roll. You don't understand the mark. No, you've got no reason to understand Furbolg's society.
Right. So, nope. Don't know anything about that mark.
Furbolg, we mark our bodies to tell our stories. This is a sign of that I am a murderer.
So see, Aaron got all like open faced, and Grigori's like, "Great, yeah, I can work with that."
Right.
Do you feel bad for the murder, or did it need to happen?
It both needed to happen, but I am sorry for it.
I like you. This is going to be great. And I walk out.
All right. Halfway through your journey, so about 5 days in, 5-6 days, the ship that you are on is making its way between the islands, the Nalantha Islands, and Valen. And the ship the day is going quite calmly, quite quietly. Is anyone going to be on watch while the ship is making its way through these islands?
Yes, very much so.
Blue would very much be on the deck, because being underneath the deck is quite claustrophobically tight for him. So he's going to be on the deck most of the time. So yeah, he'll be watching.
Okay. So
part of my job is pirate defense, even if that was only implied. I've read enough stories to know that there's always pirates, and I need to fight pirates.
Grigori's on the deck, but doing nothing to help.
Okay. All right. So is Carmen doing the same thing? All right. All those who are keeping watch, go ahead and roll perception checks. And bear with me 1 second.
Oh, good roll. For you, not me.
Sorry. Got the familiar warning of low battery on my headphones. Bear with me 1 second.
We are sailing. We are sailing. Right. All right.
Oh, blue.
Okay. Well, conveniently enough, everyone notices that there is a shadow shifting within the waters, just off to the side of the ship as you are making your way between these two islands. The shadow splits. There are definitely two large creatures approaching the ship from underwater. Judging the shape, you can best guess right now, aquatic, definitely got a long fin. That's the shape of the shadow. What are you guys doing?
I am, for the safety's sake, standard operating procedure. Go ring the alarm. Tell everybody all hands on deck. Don't know if this is a legitimate threat, but we are going to act like it is.
Okay.
Finally, an opportunity for Everine to show her worth.
As you watch these two shadows, one of them stops and stays probably about 20-something foot away from the right side of the ship, underwater, and the other one continues and goes under the ship to the other side. Both creatures staying under the water. What is everyone doing? What battle stations would you be taking?
I will stay away from the ledge, but I will do my best to keep an eye on what I can keep an eye on.
Okay.
Actually, I'll go up the. I'll go up to
the
this
steps
level.
onto the upper level. Yep.
Yeah, to
Makes
get
sense.
a better vantage.
Right. In which case, as the creatures begin to surface, you see two large merfolk creatures with harpoon guns aimed at you on your ship. I would like everyone to roll initiative, please.
The first initiative roll. Oh.
Let's see. Click.
Sorry, I didn't click on him.
Initiative.
Oh no.
Oh, disregard that. Sorry. Hit the wrong button.
That's it. Your initiative order is common.
That's right.
All right. Is anyone missing from the turn order? I don't think so. Is the familiar going to have its own initiative?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Then in which case, at the top of the round, as these creatures break out of the surface, holding the harpoons, Blue, or I need to rename that to Tower, what are you going to do?
Seeing that these... he's a bit confused by the all hands on deck thing. But then once he can see the panic and he understands that there's a threat, he understands warfare. So you'll see the thing come out of the water and aim the harpoon. It's a fairly hot day. He's going to brush a little bit of sweat off of his forebrow and then convert that into ice and fire a ice knife at the target.
Nice. Go ahead and launch your ice knife. All right, with an 18, that will hit the creature with a solid 18. Go ahead and roll the damage from that. Okay.
Right.
So you create the shard of ice, fling at the creature. The 1d, so the 1 point of damage is the actual initial stab of damage. Yep. Oh, mistake. And then it explodes. It gets to roll a dexterity saving throw, which it fails and immediately takes 6 points of cold damage. All right. As the ice shatters, anything else from you? Tower.
He'll back off into the center of the ship and then move to the.
Okay.
Yeah, stay as Avalon.
In which case, we move to Carmen. What are you going to do, Carmen?
I'm going to give everybody. Can I give everybody some inspiration?
You can only give one person inspiration.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to give it to Tower.
Okay.
Because, I like him more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be like, you got to fight for your right to party! Woo!
Okay.
You somehow feel inspired.
You don't know what party means, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your feet immediately begin to tap. All right. Anything else from you, Carmen? So that's your bonus action. You can give inspiration. So what would you like to do for your action?
Can I cast? Can I just cast sleep?
You can just cast sleep.
And just
Okay.
sleep drops down.
Which one are you casting it at? And go ahead and cast it so we know how much sleep power you give off.
I'm going to cast it on the one on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Level. Sorry. Yeah, level 1. That one.
Okay. You throw out the arcane energy for sleep. You've used this before. It's very effective on smaller creatures, groups of them in particular. Unfortunately, as you cast it on this one, it has no effect on him. Okay.
Cool.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, we have the marrow that you had just tried to put to sleep. Instead, he's going to look up at the tiefling and launch his harpoon.
I'll use my portent and say he only rolls a 5.
Okay.
5. Okay.
My AC's bad.
Does an 11 hit you?
Oh, it doesn't. My AC's 12.
Okay. The harpoon flies past you. No effect. At which point it will stay where it is, but it will drop underneath the water ever so slightly, which will obscure it to any ranged attacks. I shouldn't do it with that one. Yeah. Okay. Then we have the other marrow, the other one on the other side. It doesn't really have anyone on this side for it to target, so it's going to slide up towards Carmen's position, and after she finishes casting that spell, he will throw a harpoon at her.
I'll use my other portent.
I am down. I'm hidden in the stairs.
Make it a 2.
If you're down the stairs, how would you have cast sleep on?
I would have popped my head up.
Okay. All right. Then you would have dropped down. Okay. All right. In which case, it's going to Zola instead. But the portent. What's the result?
2.
2. Is an 8 going to hit Zola?
No.
No. Okay. For some reason, these harpoons just aren't working. Gregory.
Gregory is going to point at the one that he can still see, and he's going to so he's pointing dramatically, and he's going to shout, and it's like booming and like 2 octaves lower than his usual tone of voice, and it just says "Flee," and I will cast command on him, but I don't have the. It's a 15 wisdom save.
Okay. As he rolls an 11, you command him to flee. He immediately begins to turn around to swim away. Okay.
And
anything else?
Gory's, he's going to move up here just to kind of be. He's going to move up there for whatever reason you want, but it's really so he can just get behind some people so he doesn't get thrown a harpoon at again. And he's done.
Okay. How long does command last? My internet is being very slow. You are muted, Matthew.
Sorry about that. He does have to understand common. I forgot to mention that. So if he doesn't understand me, it doesn't do anything.
He understood.
Very good. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. This does no effect if the target's undead.
But it only affects. It only changes the command for the next turn, right?
You speak a one-word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn.
Yep. All right. Cool. So it'll do that. It doesn't last any longer than that. Okay. Zola, what would you like to do, Zola?
Not knowing what Gregory just did, but thinking that he handled something, can I dance around this pillar and do a juke move to try to confuse where I am for the blue one? In other words, hide.
You can do. You can go ahead and roll a stealth check. Okay. You feel fairly confident. You've hidden. You've broken line of sight. He's already under the water. Yeah. What else would you like to do?
And then I will get within line of sight enough so that I can shoot my bow and arrow.
Okay. Unfortunately, with the turn that you made, even though you were hidden to begin with, the fact that he's under the water, that arrow just moved off. Okay. Anything else, Zola?
Dance around.
Okay.
There's there.
Right. Averine.
I will step up. So 1, 2, 3. And then I will cast Bless on myself, Zola, and Tower. So that's plus 1d4 to your attack rolls.
Thank you, Azuth.
Okay.
Say, may your aim be true. May your aim be true. And then take a few more steps back to where I was.
Okay. So just to clarify, you cast Bless on Tower, Zola, and
Myself, Averine.
yourself.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me flag the 3 of you so we remember. All right. Then we go right back to the top of the round. Tower.
How close is the red one to the ship?
It is currently about 15 foot away from the side of the ship. You could easily jump that distance.
No, I'm gonna run up to the edge of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to cast Thorn Whip.
Okay.
You got inspiration.
Yeah.
The whip lashes around the waist of the marrow for 1 point of piercing damage.
And then
Damage is on spot today.
Yeah. And then I'm going to drag him 10 feet towards me.
Okay. And he is pulled right up to the side of the boat now at this point. Lashed in. Okay. Anything else?
No, I'll hang out there this time.
All right. He is at the water level. You're on the top of a galley, so there is actually a physical distance between the two of you. You won't be in melee range with him.
Can I just step back? Can I step back so he can't see me from? There'd be a vertical there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Carmen.
Carmen is going to give some more inspiration if she can.
You can give out inspiration. Yep.
Yes. So I will give inspiration to Gregory.
Okay. So now Tower.
My
has
friends
got
call me
inspiration.
Greg.
Greg.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to.
That's not. Sorry, that's not the same inspiration as like on the character sheet DM inspiration, right?
No. This inspiration is specific to the bard. Now, the way the bardic inspiration works is I believe it's a 1d6 for you at this level. Yep. On any ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws, I believe it is, you can add a d6 to the score. Okay.
All right, we're just gonna keep track of that.
But you just have one use of it.
Yep.
So currently Tower has one and Gregory has one.
Yeah. I'll go, hi, Greg. Greg. Make it happen. Go on.
Can do.
And then I'm torn between two things. There's a part of me that wants to give unseen servants serve drinks to everybody, just have fun. But then there's a part of me that actually should be useful. So in that sense, I'm going to cast blindness on the blue guy to the right of the ship.
Okay. Now, because of
He's on our side.
The blue guy.
Not that blue guy. The one in the water.
Because he is under the water, it is difficult to see him. You can cast blindness, but it will give him advantage on this saving throw. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm going for the one that you haven't got wrapped around with a whip at the moment.
That's gone. I kind of went. It doesn't stay.
It doesn't stay. I thought you had hold of him.
No, it doesn't. It's not. It's like a damage, and I pull it, and it pulled him closer.
Okay. Would I tell that he hasn't got hold of him right now? Then, if I pop my head right, in that case, I'll do it for the one closest to the ship, be the red guy on the left.
Because of the physical position of this marrow, you're going to have to go to the side of the ship to be able to see.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. So you step over to the side of the ship. You cast blindness.
Yeah.
What's the save he has to make? Wisdom?
I don't know.
So you cast it?
I'm clicking it. Yeah, I'm clicking it. Oh, that was me.
Okay, so he has to make a Constitution save. Okay.
Yeah.
He rolls a 22. He manages to save.
Oh.
Can I quickly hide again?
You can still move, so yes.
Yes, I'm going to go back down.
Okay. Well, the next marrow is the one that is under the water. He's going to pop back up with another, without his harpoon, he's going to swim to the side of the ship, but not climb on top yet. The red marrow, seen as he was commanded to flee, is going to swim 40 foot away from the ship. Okay, and that is all he does. Gregory.
Can I see this blue fellow on the right?
It's a little bit difficult from the angle because you're in a different position, so he would have slight cover.
I'll
but yes.
step over. Well, okay. So I will cast Sacred Flame at him.
Okay.
That is, let's see.
A dexterity saving throw.
Dex 15.
He rolls an 11. So how much damage does he take?
1d8 radiant. He doesn't get benefits from cover. Not that would matter. So he takes 5 radiant damage.
Okay.
And inspiration?
Inspiration wouldn't work on this.
Yeah, inspiration is just for the attack. Or no, not even the attack. There's no attack there. I'm just gonna hold on to that inspiration for the next round. So I'll be done.
Okay. Zola.
Actually, as a bonus action, can I do a check to see if I know anything about these creatures?
Not as a bonus action.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. Zola.
Gonna run over here so I can get line of sight on that guy. Can I hide without going prone?
In this position, yes, you can, but that may be not in that corner. You probably want to step back 5 foot away.
But I can still
just
see him
yeah.
from that. Okay, that's just what I was asking. That's where I want to go.
Okay.
Right, and then.
Okay. Launching with the short bow, the arrow embeds itself into the side of the marrow, dealing 7 points of piercing damage. Yes, it did.
It would, in addition to that, then get
Have your
7
sneak
addition-
attack.
Yep.
Okay. You are able to use your sneak attack when you're in melee with it and no one else is, or
Yeah,
you
that's
have
the-
advantage.
I have advantage of hiding.
Oh, right. So you hid
That was the whole point of
beforehand. Okay, so go ahead and roll a stealth check beforehand. Okay, yes, you were hidden, so you had advantage. The 16 is what it hit, so yes, you get the extra 7.
Yeah, if I'm using the short bow, that's exactly what I'm probably going to try to do every time.
Okay. You're going to bonus action hide first and then fire with advantage. Makes
Unless
sense.
I bonus action hide after. But yeah.
Okay. Averine.
Good shot, Zola! And I will lean over the side myself. If my mouse will get to where I want it to go. 1, 2, 3. And I'll just angle and shoot a firebolt. The
Is that
+2
plus
from...
2 for the bless?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, a 23, a 24, no, it is 23, sorry. A 23 will definitely hit. It takes 10 points of fire damage.
And then I'll step back to the middle.
Its flesh is now heavily charred from the waist up, since it's only the waist that is above the water. But it is looking very bad. Anything else from user Averine?
That's it.
Okay, back to tower.
Could Tower notice that they're shooting down at the other side?
Yes, easily.
What's the other one doing? It's still running away?
It just seemed to be running away for that turn.
Okay, I can't get at it. So I'm going to run to the other side and do the same thing I did before and thorn with it.
Okay.
Try and drag it onto the boat. And I'll use I've got Bless and Inspiration, so I'll use the Bless first.
15. Would you like to use the inspiration?
No, not over 15.
Okay. Then, as the thorn grabs around the large creature, it takes damage. Go ahead and roll the damage. 3 points of piercing damage, and then is pulled 10 foot up onto the side of the boat. So,
at which point I'm going to use my bonus action to turn into a brown bear. Druid man, come on.
We've got a heads up, might have been helpful for our DM there.
He knew that was coming.
He was hoping it wasn't.
The look on his face was grisly.
Oh.
Tie with the extra animal sheets. All right. As you shift into a brown bear, all of a sudden, I will make the changes in the edits for your character sheet for next week. For now, just use the generic brown bear sheet, which everyone should now see, but close it if it's got nothing to do with you. All right, so you suddenly shift into this huge brown bear. No, blue bear. It's blue.
Blue, the bear!
All right, anything else from your tower?
Just going to look intimidating and growling at this thing.
Okay. Carmen, you poke your head out of the lower deck once again. Now to see two huge monsters on deck. One a blue bear, the other a blue fish.
Okay. I am going to...
Blue bear with red paws.
I'm going to run up to the blue fish.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out my rapier.
Okay.
And I'm going to stab him.
Okay. Go ahead and stab that marrow. With a 23, that definitely hits. You plunge your blade deep in. You even feel the wood of the boat on the other side of him. Go ahead and roll the damage.
How do I roll damage?
So click on the word rapier in the chat box.
There we go.
13.
She gets additional damage.
I've got additional because I've got blade flourish.
Yeah.
So if I use a slashing flourish, then I can do extra damage to the target you hit and to any other creature of your choice, but this one just the target you see them 5 feet. The damage equals the number you roll on the Bardic Inspiration die.
So roll extra d6.
So if I roll so if I go roll R
forward slash R.
Huh?
Forward slash R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D6.
1d6.
Okay, so as you plunge your blade deep into the marrow, it coughs up a combination of water, spit, and blood as the creature is felled. That's 1 to Carmen.
Yes!
All right, anything else to you, Carmen?
I'm going to just slowly pull out my blade, wipe it down, and then wink at Tower, who's the bear.
Okay. All right. We have a Merrow who, suddenly coming to his senses, realizes, hey, my quarry is that way. So he is going to swim 40 feet and use his action to jump up on board. So now he's on the top. Gregory, what would you like to do?
Well, that depends on how far away he is. Oop, that's the wrong button. He is... nope. I am going to cast Chill Touch. And the ghostly skeletal hand appears and grasps and grabs at him in his square. I guess I have to attack.
Mm-hmm.
D20 plus. That didn't work. Sorry, guys. I'll have my sheet fixed for next week. 19. Does that hit?
19 is going to hit as this chill touch just grabs hold of the marrow for a grand total of 2 points of necrotic
But
damage.
I'm going to use. Hold on. Nope, I can't. Okay, yep, I don't have any modifiers. 2 points of chill touch. That's it.
Okay.
2 of necrotic, and it can't regain hit points until the start of my next turn.
Anything else from you, Gregory?
That's all for me.
Okay, Zola.
Gonna jump down, hide behind his friend's corpse.
Okay. Stealth check. Okay. And then taking the shot, it will hit. 11 points of damage. Okay. Anything else, Zola?
I think that'll be it.
Okay. Averine.
Another good shot, Zola. You're on fire. And then as I say fire, I shoot a firebolt.
Unfortunately, this beam of flame... no, with a 14 that will hit, actually. So yeah, your beam of flame does just about manage to singe the end of his little beardy tentacles for 1 point of fire damage.
And did you see Blue? He's turned into a bear.
All right. Anything else from you, Averine?
That's it.
Okay, Tower.
Towers smell of blood and the battle. Just gonna let out a massive roar, and with my bonus action, I'm gonna rage.
Okay.
And I am going to charge at the creature and do my bear multi attack. I will add all kinds of blessing stuff to that. Oh, it's a natural one. It's a natural one. Doesn't matter. It's a natural one.
It's gonna miss.
Yeah. All right. I'll do my second attack. That
Okay.
hits.
This time, I'm the one that says it hits. Because you never know, it might have the ability to dodge. You never know.
Sorry, Anne. Sorry.
23 is going to hit. Go ahead and roll the damage for 9 points of slashing damage.
And because I'm raging, I get extra 2 rage damage.
So extra 11. Okay. It's now looking very weak, very hurt. Anything else from you, Tower?
No, I'm just in its face.
Okay. Carmen.
Well, I'm going to smile, pull out my blade, run over to the big fish, and I'm going to stab him with my rapier.
Okay. You come round. Unfortunately, as you go for the stab, Tower's teeth just kind of... Oh, Tower's bulking weight just kind of knocks you a little bit, and you miss.
Okay.
Anything else from you, Carmen?
Can I do a I'm just gonna move out the way. You know what? I'm just gonna move out the way.
Okay. Okay.
Done.
All right. Then, after your turn, it is the Merrow's turn. He is going to attack the bear, since it's right there. First attack will be a bite attack. So, I have a 23 to hit the bear. Okay. And it's 8 points of piercing damage.
Oh,
Oh yeah, because you're raging. So halved down to 4 points of piercing damage. Okay. Then he comes up with a slash of his claw for a 21 to hit.
Yeah.
For 11 points of slashing damage, halved down to 5.
Cool.
Okay. Gregory.
Gregory We'll just Sacred Flame the guy again. DC 8, 15. Dex.
He saves, takes no damage.
That's unfortunate. I'm going to bundle up my cloak like I don't even care anymore. Just be done.
Zola.
All right. Gonna drop my short bow, and I am gonna start charging at this mofo. And as I do, I am drawing out my blades.
Okay.
So I'll get there, and then we will proceed to attack.
Okay, go ahead and make the attack. That will hit. You can add sneak attack to that.
Then as a bonus action, I will take an attack with my offhand.
Okay.
And is that it?
Unfortunately, the offhand attack misses. Although, you can roll bless if you'd like.
Yes. Because this might do it. Nope.
Unfortunately, the offhand attack does miss, but thankfully, the reason why it misses is the body is already falling to the ground as the first stab had taken the life out of the marrow.
Yes.
I will look over at Carmen.
In case anyone is keeping score, that is now 1-1 to Zola and Carmen.
Yeah, and Blue's gonna have just go big snotty nose exasperation from the bear, and then he's gonna pace.
Sister, doing it for ourselves.
Well done, mates.
Yeah, thanks for the help, everybody. Really.
You now have these two
Say the bear.
large.
Stay in the bear for a bit.
You've got these two large fishes on board, and nothing else seems to happen for the rest of the day in terms of attacking the ship. What would you guys like to do?
Barbecue.
Yeah, I'd like to turn to one of my mates and ask if he's ever eaten marrow before, or if that's considered cannibalism. Are they more fish than person?
Anyone could roll a survival check to see if it's edible.
Are these creatures intelligent? Or are they just wild animals out here attacking whatever comes by?
Okay, the first one was.
First roll was me, sorry.
The second roll was me.
Okay. Blue, or Tower, you know and understand that this kind of creature, while it is part fish, part something else, it is edible, per se. It's technically a monstrosity. You would know that enough, which does seem to mean that it's not the best meal to eat.
Is there an open space
This would
on the
form your
dock?
substance, but I would not advise it. It does not smell that good.
What were you going to ask, Gregory?
I was just going to ask if there's an open space on the deck, or that is like a 5-foot cube that wouldn't burn, say a fireplace or someplace that's meant to have fire in it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
It's Zola's ship.
No, most of our stuff's made out of wood here. Unfortunately. There are some kitchens, kind of like a galley downstairs. There's like a little stove area. Best we got. It's usually not, it's pretty warm where we're headed. Usually not need any.
Okay. Anything else you guys would like to do on the remainder of your journey towards Port Nyanzaro? You've got another 5 days worth of travel.
Do they have rat
So-
problems on this ship?
Not on the ship. It's very well maintained. This is a very high quality ship.
Okay.
I'm going to approach Zola and congratulate her on her kill.
That's mighty big of you. That was pretty awesome, you too. Just walking up and whoop.
No, well done to you. And you run a good ship. You really do.
Oh, thanks. These guys, they mostly take care of themselves. I'm not really the head honcho. I'm kind of like the head honcho's fourth.
Of course. Okay. I'm then going to catch up with Blue Tower, and ask him. So how's your money? Because I just wanted to check you were okay. Because I just wanted to make sure you were looking after it. Okay.
It was not stolen, but I apparently spent it unwisely.
What did you spend it on?
I bought the pretty brunette lady, Zola, a crossbow.
You brought Zola a crossbow. Okay. And how much did you spend on the crossbow?
Everything in the purse.
You had 150?
I do not know.
Okay. Did she give you any money in return?
She offered.
Okay. Do you remember when I said look after your gold?
You did.
That's not looking after your gold.
Yes, she told me afterwards.
Good. Okay. Well, she should have compensated you because we would say that's called taking advantage. You see.
She offered to pay. I had a confusing time with money, so
Okay.
I decided that she will hold on to it for now, and maybe I'll get it later.
Okay. Did you learn from that? To look after it a bit
I learned
more?
winking is suggestive of many things.
You learned about winking. Okay. Listen. I have a bit of a knack. So do you want some more to pop in your pocket? Or do you just, if you need any, just give me a shout, okay?
Why would I shout at you?
Not shout at me.
That's normally quite offensive.
No, I don't mean shout at me. I mean as in I'm your friend, so you may ask me for help, and I will gladly help you. Okay?
It's agreeable to
yes. Okay. I just don't want anyone to take advantage. Okay? Good. All right. Okay. I got my eye on Zola.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Then after the 5 days, you guys have rested enough that if any of you had taken any damage, which none of you had, you would have had opportunity to be able to regain those hit points back. You bear did, but shift down and then shift back up, and your bear's fine. All right. As the 5th day is going on, you've been sailing for 11 and a half days now at this point. The Bay of Cholt is coming into view. From the side, it looks almost like a large claw that is reaching out to creatures within, and you sail the ship around. As you do so casually, you see lots of ships out and about all over the bay, all over the sea, outside of the northern side of Cholt. And in particular, you notice 3 large ships, each flying that is the best combination of portent you could possibly have hoped for. A natural 1 and a natural 20. Okay. These 3 ships that you see outside the Bay of Cholt, all flying black pirate flags. Since you are a merchant ship, you move your ship closer to the rocks and try to avoid it as best you can. And while you're pretty sure they would have noticed your comings and goings, the boats don't seem to be interested in you as of right now. So you sail the ship towards the harbour of Port Nyanzaro, being that that is the home of Zola's patron, Zola's friend. The harbour, at first, is blocked off completely by two huge towers that have this enormous chain that links between the two that just touches the surface of the water. A massive iron chain that would ruin any ship that attempted to sail into the bay. As you approach and the ship's flags are recognized, you watch as the towers slowly lower the chain below the surface of the water, allowing the ship to slide over. You arrive in the hot and muggy city of Port Nyanzaro.
Welcome to my home, everyone.
As you approach your personal ship, well, not your personal ship, but your master ship, you sail immediately to the right and would know that this section of the harbour is reserved for the merchant princes, and as such, your ship can land. As soon as you all land the ship and get close enough to be able to start taking in the sights and the sounds, you're immediately taken aback by just the difference between Baldur's Gate and Port Nyanzaro. The weather here it's not that great. It's hot, humid, flies everywhere. It's little disgusting, and you're already sweating just from having approached Port Nyanzaro, approached Chult as itself. And once you get into the bay, it's no better. But the smells are just so exotic. The streets, the air itself almost smells like it's got a spice to it. You can see every building is colorful, lots of different colors everywhere. Each house having a huge contraption to the side that is intended on catching rain, indicating to you all, as Zola and Averine would be happy to explain, this place rains a lot. Like a lot. Children running, playing, having fun in the streets. Then you begin to hear loud crashes as huge beasts of burden dragging carts move through the streets.
Dinosaur.
Those are dinosaurs.
Dinosaur.
You watch as these large reptilian beasts are being used to pull carts, as mounts, as people are riding around the street on these different kinds of reptilian beasts. But the streets are busy and bustling with the Chultan people. There are people of various different races. Everyone kind of gathers to this central point. Not many people move too much further than Port Nyanzaro itself, but the majority of people here are Chultan, which is dark-skinned individuals, very colorful attire, and a huge smile on their face at all times. So, once they arrive in Chult, Zola, what do you do with them?
So, I have to go see Xanthi. I suggest you all come with me. She is my employer, and she is one of the 7 merchant princes that have dominion over the city. If you ask me, she is the best one, but I am biased.
Would my appearance cause alarm?
I don't think so.
Great.
Xanthi does not judge people by their exteriors.
Oh, not your merchant prince. I'm thinking of just the town folk.
Oh, you will attract attention, but if you just stick near me, people shouldn't bother you about it.
Well, let's not have that. And then I snap my fingers and cast Alter Self, and I look like a random human with dark skin and black hair, but still a little bit of yellow in the iris, so you know it's me.
Okay.
Would he cause attention? Point that tower.
Not as much as a tiefling. I think he'd be okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I cast... I can't remember what it's called, so I don't have it open, but I've got a spell. Just to give him a quick wash.
Prestidigitation to clean him off.
I'm conscious he hasn't bathed or showered, so just...
Yeah, you can use prestidigitation to clean him. You notice though that even though you're used to using prestidigitation to do quick cleanings on weapons, items, equipment, things like that, it's going to take a lot of casting to clean off the grime, the mud, the blood under the fingernails. But after quite a few castings, you clean up pretty good, Blue.
Here you go.
Thank you. I feel quite fresh.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you smell a lot better.
So, leading the party around the city, you will approach the merchant, the merchant prince's living areas. Particularly, right here. This building just off to the side is it's within this walled section of the city that's raised up above everything else. You can see the entire city splayed out before you. And this is the richest section in town. Every house in this section is owned by one of the merchant princes. Each of them high-walled compounds with security gates and guards stood outside aplenty.
Zola, I meant to ask. When we came into harbor, there were those pirates. I was ready to take them, but they didn't seem to care about our ship. Why do you think that is?
What do I know about the pirates?
So, considering that you've just come from Chult recently, I mean, you barely even spent any time in Baldur's Gate, you would know that one of the local quartermaster, a Dragonborn, is currently looking for individuals willing to help him tackle the problem with the pirates. There is actually a bounty on each pirate ship, 2,000 gold for claiming a pirate ship. Whether or not its crew are alive doesn't matter, but claiming the ship, there is a nice bounty. As such, the pirates have been kept busy.
So they've been a problem, and I have a friend who's leading the charge against them. I don't know how they're still here. I would have thought they'd be long gone, but I guess that they've been putting up a good fight. If you want to inquire about it, I know the guy. I can take you to him. I think they've each got 2,000 gold bounty on them for conquering the ships. Each.
It's something to keep in mind. I was just curious.
Okay.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know why they're here or why they're so stubborn. Usually these pirates kind of come and go, but these guys have been here since we left.
Okay. Anything else you would be doing as you approach the merchant prince's home?
Give some knucks to the guy standing guard.
Okay.
Go ahead again.
Then in which case, bear with me while I move us all to the merchant prince's house. Proper. Just taking a while.
Also, if you do not act properly in front of Xanthi, you do so at your own risk.
And what is properly then?
Respectively. Like someone who's earned the title of a merchant prince, which is highly sought after. She did a lot of work to get where she is.
Okay, you guys are invited inside upon seeing the presence of Zola. Roll20 is taking a while to load for me. You know what? It's this dynamic lighting which is unnecessary. Sorry about this, guys.
There we go.
Let me just grab the real Gregory, not the image, the actual token. Upon entering the household, the guards and the servants will begin to help you offload any sort of equipment or clothing that you would be wearing out in the streets. And you will be guided towards a nice little comfortable seating area just off to the side of the main entryway, where you are given drinks, kept busy until Xanthi arrives.
Blue would have walked in and seen the water fountain up front, and then just presumed that's where you drink, and it would have started getting handfuls and drinking.
Okay.
He's thirsty.
Then, while you are drinking, you'll hear a from down the corridor as a fairly older lady, Cholton woman, approaches with a cane as she steps forward. And you would be?
My friends called me Tower. I thank you for your water.
Tower. Okay. Well,
I come out from around the corner and shout, Xanthi! And jump at her and give her a huge hug. We sit there like that.
It is good to see you, Zola. Welcome home. Welcome.
I missed you.
I missed you too. Sit, please, sit. Relax.
Go back in the room.
So, how may I be of service to you? How was your trip?
Well, the guy, he died.
Yeah.
He died very shortly after coming across that one, but it wasn't her fault. Pointing at Carmen. She was trying to hide him, and then he ran away from the hiding spot.
Whoa.
And then...
Hold on. My name is Carmen. We're all here to support your friends' travels and your friends' adventures. I think that's been a bit of a misunderstanding. But we're only here for a good reason. We're only here for a good cause. So nobody is a cause here of anybody's death or demise. So yeah, I apologise if there's a misunderstanding. Okay?
But it was a lich.
It was a
lich.
I didn't see it myself, but that's why we brought the big guy.
Well, at least you are here. You are okay. And at least he paid up front. So, well, it is a shame that he had to die. I would have hoped we could have gotten him away from whatever he was running from.
The lich, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. I do not know much about liches. But you must be tired. What can a humble merchant do for you, my darling, sweet Zola.
Well, I'm happy as a clam now that I'm back home. But I don't know. I did meet this fella here, and he might have some questions, indicating Grigory.
Give a small, politeful bow to Xanthri and say, I was an associate of Mr. Sandir and have come to try to ascertain the nature of his demise. So he paid you up front for passage. Did he say why or what? Why he so suddenly wished to leave? Perhaps something he told you in confidence?
No, I'm afraid he's just said he must get to Baldur's Gate quickly. And so I had a ship, he had the gold. It was good.
Do you know where he came from before he chartered your vessel?
I asked him a few things about who he is, just to gauge whether or not my ship and my crew would be in danger. And he was fairly reluctant to give me any information, which was a shame. It was a real shame. I did manage to get a little bit of information out of him. He had arrived in Port Nyanzaru on the day to hire the ship, having traveled via a little boat by himself along the river Soshenstar.
Soshenstar.
Mm-hmm. It leads up into the jungle towards the Aldani Basin.
I don't have a journal to write all this down, so I hope that's it to remember. Okay, interesting.
But if Port Nyanzaru is the biggest place in Chult for travel, for people to come and go as they wish, and so it is also a place where many other bits of information can be gained and bartered. I'm sure there are plenty of other people in town that you could talk to.
Well, we certainly will, and I thank you, madam, for that direction. Can you recommend any guides or any locals? It looks like we will be traveling at some point outside of the city in an effort to trace down what happened. Can you recommend anyone who might accompany us?
Well, if you are looking for a guide to take you into the jungle, you have a few options. There are plenty of people in town who claim to be able to guide you through the jungle. Some of those people can be, can be a little expensive, but those people are in a actual guide society, and so they can actually have the paperwork to back up their claims, but they are expensive. However, if you do plan to go into the jungle, perhaps if you do an old woman a favor, we can perhaps make an arrangement to have a guide for you.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of bartering favors, but I can certainly make a deal.
Very well, very well. My son, Shago, he is currently in Fort Belwarian. It is north of here. He is the best guide and can take you wherever you wish to go in the land of Chult. I have no doubt about that. I will give you a letter of recommendation to use him as your guide. But I could do with a favor myself. So, a trade.
A quid pro quo, as it
Yes.
were.
Yes.
Now you've got my attention.
My requirement, what I need, is this. It is fairly simple. And she puts a hand on Zola's shoulder. Zola is very dear to me. She is a member of the family. Ever since we took her in, she has been very close to us. She needs to see a little bit more of the land and the jungle. Needs to get her feet wet, as it were. Do me a favor and keep her with you, but keep her alive.
I can make her feet wet if that helps.
I'm sorry. I'm just immature.
Are these people always like this, Zola?
Well, what Tower doesn't know, he also knows quite a bit about everything else. It's just kind of weirdly placed.
Okay. Very well. Very well. Do not lose yourselves within the jungles. And when I say lose yourselves, lose what makes you you when you're in the jungle. But please, keep Zola safe, and you can use Shago as your guide.
I'm blushing.
Aww.
The world is a dangerous place to promise absolutely anything, but I can promise to, in exchange for the use of your son as a guide, I can promise to certainly try to my utmost to keep Zola alive.
And I'll be trying too. I mean, I'm not just going to sit there and let, a Tyrannosaurus run me over or anything.
Well, that goes without saying, Zola. Do we have an accord?
We do have an accord.
Shake
Very
it.
well. She will grab your hand, both of her hands, and vigorously shake it. Very well. So, if you wish to gain any knowledge at all, the place to go is the Temple of Savras. Okay? The Temple of Savras is just off to the side of here. This is where the wizards who worship Savras and all manner of knowledge tend to find themselves. If there are answers to be found, it is with Father Zidemba of the Temple of Savras. And I will type that out for you. 1 second. Grandfather Zidemba. Second. Temple of Savras. Very well. But while I can offer Zola a place to sleep within my home, I do not have the space to be able to house all of you. If you are looking for a place to sleep, there are plenty of inns within the Red Bazaar, the eastern side of the city.
Which one would you recommend as the best?
It depends on what you like to do.
I like really bad entertainment.
Really bad entertainment. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you have two choices. It sounds like you are a woman at my own heart, and you would want the Thundering Lizard.
Okay.
It is a place for a good time. If those walls would ever shut up. And then if you wish for a quiet place to sleep, you would want Kaya's House of Repose.
Boring.
Yes. You can go see that in the Red Bazaar. Very well. Now, let an old woman rest. If you need me for anything, you can always come here.
Can me and Tower go around back to the enclosed, and if none of them are being used right now, can I show them?
Okay. Very well. And she will. Yeah.
Oh, and I hate to impugn on your hospitality, but certainly we come from a different clime, and I look at all of us in the clothing we wear, except for Zola, and this is heavy and bulky and likely not fit for the environment. As a merchant, do you perhaps have attire we could use that would aid us in successfully navigating the jungle? Basically, I'm just asking for a change of duds.
So much yes.
With a sparkle in her eye and a twitch at the corner of her mouth. Well, I happen to be the merchant prince of cloth, jewelry, and all things fine. I can bring you plenty of outfits that will be just for your expedition, though I would still hold on to your armor. But I can replace it with something more attuned to this climate, if you wish.
Ooh.
I told you she's the best. Isn't she the best?
You did
Oh,
say that,
I-
Zola, many times.
Liking her.
Yes. As long as our bargain still stands, I give you what you need.
Absolutely, and giving us this clothing would only make it that much easier to fulfill your desire regarding Zola.
She is capable of replacing every one of your armor with a Chultan version, which is lighter material, though still as strong. It breathes a lot better, and it is just naturally very colorful, because you don't want dark colors when you're in under the heat. So lots of bright, shining imagery and tapestry within your armors. For any of you that wish to replace your armor, you can do so.
He doesn't have any armor. So
Would you like armor?
You can get a
Colorful
nice,
loincloth.
colorful loincloth. That's right.
Good minds.
All right. And with that, as you are getting your equipment set up and you begin to step out and explore more of not only Xanthi's home, but also Port Nine Zaro itself, because you're free to explore, we are going to end tonight's session.
did Zora not want to show Tao or something?
Yes, and we will get to that next time. All right. Now, thank you everyone for sticking with us and for joining us on this this start on this new adventure.
Start on a new campaign!
If you liked what you saw, please tell your friends. Come back next week, as we will continue same time as we did today. Something to just to let you guys know: these wonderful players do role play in character in using a chat together during the week. If you would like to follow along with their in-character chat within the week, you can gain access to it via our Patreon. Please check it out. If you'd like to support this campaign and this group, we appreciate all of your support thus far, and we'll see you next week. Good night.